What's up, guys? Young Bucks, old goats. We're in episode 87. I have the bum, or I had the bum. There he is. I have the bum with me, and we're going to be hanging out, going over some stuff in the news, probably getting ripped a little bit, and just talking about whatever you guys want to talk about. How you doing, bum?
Oh, man, I'm good. How about you, man?
Pretty good, dude. I really cannot complain, man. I got to tell you, I'm doing pretty good.
Excellent.
I like to complain, but I'm not going to complain today.
I like the list of things that you have planned. I like to underscore the getting ripped part. I think it's probably at minimum what I'll be able to do tonight for you.
I mean, cheers. Cheers. That is the primary objective here. Nothing else matters. Like my boys Metallica would say. Special Saturday night edition with the bum here. Some of the boys are out vacationing around the great state of Florida. So I don't want to say I got you off the waiver wire or the practice squad, or maybe like a sixth man role coming in, helping me out, special correspondent kind of thing.
Yeah, that's usually where I kind of come in, man.
You're like on the roster.
You Haslam, kind of the Haslam role.
Yes, that kind of guy. Maybe even like a coach that sometimes suits up in an emergency or something like that. You know what I mean?
I got you.
Not to say that you're past your prime, but just that's kind of the feel I have. I am drinking, by the way, here a little bit of Eagle Rare tonight, which is like my 100% favorite, but I like to ration it because it's really hard to find. And then I'm going to get into this again that I've had before, and you got to try this whenever I see you. This is the Aged at Sea Jefferson's, which I really like too.
I'm doing something very basic, something that harkens back to you, of course. I'm doing the old standby, the Buffalo Trace.
You cannot go wrong with that.
Yeah.
That is a classic, everyday sipper. Can't go wrong there. I'm gonna have to do some rum like you soon. I had a taste of rum. It was a Brugal 18. I don't remember what.
That's not bad.
That thing was pretty good. They gave it to me on the rocks, and
that's Dominican, right?
I believe so.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
Yeah, if I can remember correctly, it was. Okay, so let's set the table a little bit. Other than getting ripped, we have sort of, I said bootleg newscast. It feels like that a little bit. Obviously, we're not going to do the news, but like we're going to run down a whole bunch of stuff. Anybody in the chat, in the goat pen, chime in. And if you're watching on the replay or live, I'm trying to get a paltry 300 subscribers. I just need like 18 more. Just go ahead. If you're watching, help us out. Subscribe. Bum, you're sort of a music connoisseur kind of guy, I consider.
Wow.
It's
a lot of pressure.
I mean, you know a lot about music in general. If I were to ask you, I think this is pretty rare. I don't know. How many artists do you know that released 2 albums in 1 year? Do you know any off the top of your head? I'm gonna just do a little Googling here while you think.
Yeah, no, I'd hope you save me. Man, that's an interesting question, because off the top of my head, none come to mind. I'm sure it's happened. Obviously, if not, you wouldn't be asking the question.
Yes,
I would think that happens more on the kind of pop and hip hop kind of.
Definitely has happened a lot in the hip hop world, which is kind of why I'm asking. But let's look at this list before I tell you why I was asking. So artists who have released 2 albums in the same year. This is obviously 4 months old, but that's pretty fresh. We can use this. Where's the list? Okay, is this one of those
more commercials and information?
Yeah. So we got Taylor Swift on here.
Yeah, I'll be surprised.
Okay, here we go.
I'll be surprised if there's a lot of pure rock bands in this list, but maybe I'll be surprised.
So here's the first one. Pop star Taylor Swift released her first surprise album of 2020 in July called Folklore. And then on December 10th, she announced the release of her second surprise album, Evermore. I don't know a lot about her music. I don't know a lot about the albums. I do know that there was something where she was re-releasing music a little bit different. I don't know if that has anything to do with these two albums, but regardless, she's on the list. Frank Ocean.
I'm going to stand by my original comment that I would think that a lot of this is around the pop and hip hop world. So again, let's see if there's any kind of rock in there that kind of knocks down that statement. But I would think
Ariana Grande.
Yeah. So far, I'm doing pretty good with my statement there.
Yeah, they did release in separate years hers, but they were within a year of each other.
Yeah,
so I guess that counts. This is a credit card that they want you to buy.
Thank you.
Look, dude.
Oh, wow. Okay, there you go.
You surprised me that you didn't say this one.
I'm surprised that I didn't know this, but this is good stuff here. And what are they?
Well, it says here, the Beatles are the kings of productivity from 63 to 66, releasing album after album, but particularly in 1964 with albums including A Hard Day's Night and Beatles for Sale. To be fair, they owed a lot of the releases to the different countries in which they were putting out records, i.e. UK and US got different releases.
Yeah. Okay.
So, I don't know, what's up with those albums? I don't know enough about them to comment.
Well, I mean, certainly A Hard Day's Night is certainly a known one. I think they made a movie about that too. Didn't they have like a little movie that ran with that too? Like a
I remember Yellow Submarine.
That one too. They had a couple of they were kind of the first ones that kind of tied videos and movies to their albums, and I thought A Hard Day's Night is one of them. Certainly, probably one of the early ones. But hey, you know what? I'm learning something here because I should have known if anybody would have done it was the Beatles. We'll see if there's any other rock here, and I'll be surprised. But
and you're a huge fan, so that one caught me by surprise. I didn't know this either. I'm learning along with you, which is part of the reason why I like to do this. By the way, has my internet connection sound been okay thus far?
You've been solid and clear.
That's what she said. Thank you, and I apologize for last episode to my guest and anybody that watched that train wreck. I had tremendous internet issues. What can you tell me about Beatles for Sale? Do you know anything about that?
Well, see, that's the thing. I've never even heard of that album.
Okay, so this is maybe not like a full-blown release that maybe it's like some type of special release.
Yeah.
They mentioned something.
And, I wasn't going to say too much of that because I was stumped here. So I didn't want to sound like I was trying to get out of being tricked. But, yeah, I mean, A Hard Day's Night certainly is a popular one, a well-known one. But Beatles for Sale, don't know it. Never heard of it.
Okay. We'll look into that at some other point. Okay, Kanye West.
Okay. Yeah, makes sense. Along that hip-hop pop kind of world.
Yeah, this one's weird because he released an album on June 1st and then a week later dropped a collaboration album. I don't know about that one, dude. All right,
you think they're stretching here a little bit? Oh, yeah. Look
at this.
This is there you go, a little rock and roll here.
So it says here, 4.5 years after his 1987 album Tunnel of Love, Springsteen made up for the wait by releasing both Human Touch and Lucky Town on March 31st, 1992. So this was like releasing two albums at the same time is more what he did, sounds like, right?
Yeah.
Which is odd.
Yeah, and, for a lot of people, the main album that obviously he's associated is Born in the USA, and a lot of his fans, a lot of sort of the secondary fans probably don't even know these other two albums. I have heard of Human Touch, though. Can't remember Lucky Town, though.
Are you a fan of the boss?
I do like him, yes. I like his very early stuff, and Born in the USA, there certainly, there's some tracks there, and there's some other scattered tracks, throughout his career. I do like him. Funny enough, Vivian's a fan of him, which
that's surprising.
Obviously introduced by me, but still, the fact that she liked it, I was surprised.
Yeah. Is he Glory Days?
Yes,
Oh
yes,
man,
and
I love that song.
yes, absolutely,
It's
absolutely.
whenever I hear that song, it's like I just think, damn, this is a pretty good song and pretty fucking realistic thing that happens to everybody.
Yeah, and how many times have you not like met up with somebody in a bar and started to talk about the good old days, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
isn't that weird too? When have you ever had this scenario? You somebody that you would hang out with a lot, maybe in high school, maybe even like almost on a daily basis. You know, you're going to class with them, or going to lunch period. Maybe you're, skipping school back in the days with some of your buddies, or playing some after school sports, and then you don't see those people, and then you meet them like 10 years later, and you're like, wow, I don't even know how I was friends with this person, or you're like
Yeah.
so different. You've both gone on such different uh
Yes.
paths or
Yes.
ways that it's kind of sad, but it's just, I guess, the way it is.
Yeah, and going back to that song "Glory Days," it kind of captures some of that too.
Yeah,
Um,
great fucking song.
yep, I'm with you.
All right, let's see who else we got, and then I'll tell you why I'm mentioning this. Rihanna is next here.
Okay.
So in 8 months, she released a couple. 2006. Tupac. I knew about Tupac.
Yeah, I could. You know what? I probably should have just mentioned this guy and taken a guess here because this guy has been releasing more albums since he's died since than before when he was alive. It seems like this guy is still releasing albums.
Yes, and Biggie as well. However, this guy's like his estate, for whatever reason, is not worth nearly as much. His music is not aged as well as Biggie's music. But this guy was one of the most prolific, busiest artists. I mean, he was recording music almost like he knew he was going to die.
Yeah, it seems like Biggie. They sampled him or put in more samples to make his music age better versus this guy that was a little bit more pure
Right,
at
he's
the
more like a
time.
pure lyricist.
Yeah.
Really way dirtier, way
Yes.
more
A little bit more
grimy.
hardcore. Yeah.
Yeah,
And I felt like Biggie, even though Biggie had some of those qualities too, certainly,
absolutely.
but I think they also sampled him and added samples to his music and made it a lot like very popish and contemporary at times, right?
Very
To be
catchy. Yeah,
able,
very
yeah,
catchy.
to make it really last and age well, like you said.
Yeah, he's with Puffy, and Puffy got all the great samples, and they did a lot of good at the time. Maybe some fans of the original music that were sampling was probably like, oh man, but that we've gone so far beyond that now, where like everybody samples everything. So like that at that time, some of it was even a little controversial at times.
Yeah, yeah,
So it says here in '96 he released hip hop's first double full length solo album with 27 tracks. I thought Paid in Full released a double album, but I guess maybe that's not a double full length. And that was called All Eyes on Me. And in the same year, here in the number 1 album with the Don Columinati, The 7 Day Theory. I think this is when he got out of jail and 2 months before his murder. This guy got into Machiavelli and all that stuff when he was in jail.
yeah.
So that's Tupac. That's an advertisement. Oh, look at Mariah Carey, dude.
Oh wow.
These are pretty. Okay, so she did it in a calendar year: October 28, 94, October 3rd, 95. Merry Christmas and Daydream.
Yeah, Daydream, pretty famous album for her. I gotta tell you, funny enough, I have that Christmas album. It's pretty solid, man.
And she still sings that like almost every year, right? Like
Yeah,
song. Yeah.
I have that, and when I do my
These are late night confessions from the bum.
Yeah. Well, let me explain. That
I'm
Christmas,
not judging. I'm not judging.
yeah, that Christmas album, I actually put it, probably once a year on Christmas night. When we gather here, obviously, go, you've attended those gatherings. And in the background, if you ever pay attention, this is what I have in the background. It's all classic Christmas songs, but sung by her. It's a pretty good, it's a pretty good album for, its purposes, right? For that
Right.
Christmas purpose.
So they're not original songs. They're mostly her
Yes,
version of. Okay.
Of classics.
Okay.
All the classics.
I
Jingle bells, all that stuff.
I love Mariah Carey.
Yeah, there you go.
Prince
Wow.
had the feat.
Yeah.
It was done in. He was coming off his longest break when he released both. I'm not gonna fucking say this right. Plectrum, Electrum, and Art Official Age on September 26, 2014. Then, because he's Prince, he released 2 more albums the next year: Hit and Run Phase 1 and Hit and Run Phase 2. And I was gonna wait till later. He's coming out with a new album now. Did you know that?
No, I did not know that.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
He had recorded something before he died that was not released.
By the way, now that I start thinking about this, I wonder, is Guns N' Roses going to be on this list? I'm going to leave that question there.
I mean, we remember Use Your Illusion 1 and Use Your Illusion 2 in that Terminator era, right? So they should be on here.
There you go. You know what? The engine is finally heating up here.
Hey, there's 30 slides here, and I wasn't planning to go so deep into, so I'm going to run through them just a little bit faster unless there's something exceptional. Lil Wayne had a couple. Shout out to Tank. That's his favorite rapper of all time. Green Day, I kind of vaguely remember this now. Yes, they did it too. Okay, this is the reason why I'm asking the question.
Got it.
Rest in peace, DMX. Where my dog's at? And he, in 1998, not only did he release 2 albums, there were 2 top charting albums. Obviously in this category, right? In the hip hop category, probably. Right. But they went like multiple platinum, both of them. And I think that Tupac was the only other dude to make that. Not only that, he then released another one the next year, and that was also a top charting album. So
yeah, that's rare.
Yeah,
that's rare that they're top charting, no doubt.
I think like his first 4 were, and they were all within 4 years. And then really, I have to, if I'm being honest, the wheels kind of started falling off. But the first 4 albums for this guy were just fire. And some of his lyrics probably didn't age that well. But dude, I remember growing up, like we would have this on in the car. He was definitely huge artist of the era. Rest in peace, DMX.
I saw something weird. There it is. Mm-hmm. Where his manager came out and said that he was still alive and on life support.
Okay, I know there's been a lot of confusion because Tank sent me something like days before he died, and then they said no, he's not dead. Now they said he's dead, and then I did see like one article, but like at this point, he's officially dead. Like there's no.
I got that, but I could have swore that I saw that today, a headline about his manager saying that today. Which,
you know what? Yeah,
that was surprising.
Those are some clickbait websites that are. I did see that same article that are releasing that story that was from a few days ago before he actually died. Obviously, to get people to click on
something like, and I don't want to go too off the beaten path here, but something like that happened for real with this actress that died not too long ago, Tanya Roberts, who was like an ex. I think she was a Charlie's Angels, and they had said she died, and then it came out that she was still alive, and then she died, and it really screwed up like her partner or her husband or whatever. Like the whole timing and announcement of it was just all jacked up. So I thought maybe it was happening again.
No, yeah. Everybody wants to have that story first, right? That first hot. Nobody gives a damn about the family, unfortunately, and the loved
Yeah.
ones. So you get some of that. But yeah, I did see the same confusion. But yeah, he is officially rest in peace. He's gone from this realm. Here's the aforementioned Use Your Illusion 1 and Use Your Illusion 2, both released in 1991. One of the most successful simultaneous album releases of all time. Both debuted at #1 and #2 on the Billboard charts.
Yeah.
Nas, another rapper here, had a couple. 1999. Drake, 2017. Now,
Okay.
when you get into the modern music, like, I hate to be a fucking old fart hater, but like, I don't know. Like, I've never actually physically seen any of his albums. Do you know what I mean? Like, I know what Thriller looks like, right? Like,
Right.
I've held that in my hand. I'm
Yeah.
not by any means doubting this guy's greatness or talent, but like, it's just such a different era, right? We're no longer in that album era, CD, DVD,
No.
vinyl.
Even the whole mechanism, right? Used to
Mhm.
be you put out an album, you'd go on tour. That was like a process, and every band did that, or every entertainer did that. That is so different now. That's not necessarily the flow. Oh, look at this!
Look who we got in there, dude. What's up, bro?
Wow!
Shout out to Jose. What's going on, brother?
Hey,
So
Jose.
let's Nelly. We had Nelly as
Yeah.
well. System of a Down. I like these guys. I did not realize they did 2 in the same year. Rick Ross, not surprising. Tom Waits, he did not wait long between album releases. This guy reminds me of somebody, dude. What does he remind you of?
John Mellencamp? I don't know. I'm taking a guess.
He reminds me of like some basketball player, center, maybe. Obviously white.
He's
Like
certainly
a
not as tall.
young, not Bill Russell, Bill Walton, maybe like a young Bill
Wow.
Walton here. No,
Maybe
right. Let's move on.
just the head.
Gucci Mane. Okay, why is he here twice? Oh, he did it again. He did it twice.
Oh.
Bright Eyes.
Jesus.
Ghostface Killer. Didn't know about that one. Member of the Wu-Tang. Da Baby. That's very modern. Future. Very modern. Lil Yachty. Very modern. E40. That's surprising. Didn't know about him. Yeah, definitely a lot of hip hop here. Deer Hunter. Is that it?
Maybe so.
Yeah, I think that's it. Thankfully.
So
that went longer than expected.
I was surprised. There were a couple rock folks in there. Obviously, it later came to me about Guns N' Roses, but still probably more than what I would have thought, but not many. I think it still stands that it was mostly hip hop and pop, right?
Absolutely.
Yep.
Sprinkled in with a little bit of rock here and there. Okay, and then the other rest in peace for this week was Prince Phillip. Are you into the royal family at all? Did you watch The Crown? Did anybody in the house watch The Crown?
Me personally, no. I mean, I know a little bit of the history. Pretty surprising when you look at it. He was married to the Queen like 73 years, dude. That's crazy, man. Crazy shit. Was an officer in World War II. Quite the long historic history there, definitely. But personally, I'm not big into the royals.
No, I know a lot of people watched that. Marina watched that. Kind of an odd couple of guys to pass away in the same day. Couldn't be more further apart.
opposite spectrums, to say the least.
Yeah, some guy that grew up, in or lived in the luxury all his life, and royal protocol and all that, and then another guy, from the streets. That guy was not like, a rapper pretending to be from the streets. He was like a dude. Let's be honest, dude, like a ghetto dude that happened to get lucky enough, to get in the right place at the right time and make some music. But the guy was always like a street guy, He had his demons and all that, but totally different. Different people.
I heard this guy was a bit of a gaff machine too. And I don't know if his quotes or his gaffes are easily available, but I heard when he traveled, many a times he sort of offended and wasn't very politically correct.
I heard a lot of racist stuff, dude. If I'm being
honest. He would just kind of throw the bombs out there, and then sort of, they made it seem like he didn't do it like, gaff prone. Yeah. He didn't do it like maliciously. You got to understand, when you're nearly 100 years old, like, you're sort of from a completely different era, right? Like, most of your life is from a completely different time when maybe some of those things were appropriate, right? Not to make any excuses.
Yeah, definitely. Right. But probably definitely like not a dude that's changing his ways along the way. They call him here gaff prone, blunt speaking alpha male, which is kind of funny because you're an alpha male, but yet she is she is the freaking queen. She's not only the boss of everybody. She's really your boss too. That comes up in the show. If anybody watches The Crown, like, he has to bow to her or something, or bend the knee to her in the wedding. I don't remember how that all played out, but that was like a major thing for him.
Yeah, I did hear though that she felt that was her rock, as like very stiff upper lip that she has, and not very, kind of emotional, that she really leaned on this guy, and that this guy was a very kind of stabilizing force in her life is what I've heard.
Well, since you brought it up, let's read a couple of these so-called gaffes. 1976. We don't come here for our health. We can think of other ways of enjoying ourselves, said during a royal visit to Canada. So I guess he's kind of shitting on Canada a little bit there, right?
Yeah.
Ooh, look at this one. 1986. If you stay here much longer, you'll all be slitty-eyed, to a young British student during a royal visit to China. Ghastly, he said of Beijing during the same tour. That one, that I don't want to say it didn't age well. That was never well.
No. And really inappropriate based on what's happening right now too, right?
Yeah, absolutely, dude. Shout out to no Asian hate, dude. Stop doing that. 1994. Aren't most of you descended from pirates? To a wealthy islander in the Cayman Islands. Shout out to Big Lex in the Cayman Islands.
Yeah.
1995. How do you keep the natives off the booze long enough to pass the test? Asked of a Scottish driving instructor.
Wow.
Pretty brutal.
Yeah. Well, I guess, he was unvarnished and plain speaking, I guess.
2002, do people trip over you? To a wheelchair-bound nursing home resident.
Wow. He covered all the bases, huh?
You look starved. To a pensioner on a visit to a London almshouse for elderly men. I mean, he was elderly himself already in that one, so I'll give him a pass on that. But yeah, that's the rest in peace for this week. There seems to be always a couple.
Yeah, and this guy started to kind of break down even, several months or years ago. He started with like these out of control car rides where he would get his Rover and like flip it over and have these accidents.
He was
And
still
then,
driving?
yeah, well, until recently, and they finally told him, hey, like, that's it, you can't drive, because I think the last time he crashed and overturned the car and it was kind of serious, and they told him, hey, like, enough, you can't drive anymore.
Doesn't
You're
this
nearly,
dude have chauffeurs?
yeah, but I guess he was like, I still like to get out there, and
He
they
used to like
finally
to
took
ride
his license away.
motorcycles in
That
the
I didn't
Crown.
know.
And
I
not
didn't
now,
know
but like in the Crown when he's a young man, when he's sort of courting Elizabeth, that's one of the things. He's always riding motorcycles. So maybe that was a way. Obviously, he probably couldn't ride a motorcycle anymore, but maybe that was a way of him, doing something on. I mean, those people probably can't do anything on their own.
Yeah, I will say, I've certainly been to London and been to Buckingham Palace and Windsor Castle. It's pretty impressive stuff. I mean, just seeing all that, it's pretty badass. I do have to say that.
You'd probably like the show, dude. Winston Churchill, who, by the way, I think it was like Winston Churchill Day or something, which I didn't even know that was a thing. Let me look that up to make sure. He appears in the show as well, because it's kind of like a whole history of how she became. Yeah, April 9th was Winston Churchill Day, so shout out to him, and also namesake of my favorite type of cigar. You'd probably like it, is what I'm saying.
I'll have to check it out.
Do you know who Nikki Graham is? She also passed away. I'm not like 100% familiar with her. She was from Big Brother, I think.
I saw that headline, but I really didn't. I didn't really follow Big Brother, so I don't. I guess she was a contestant or a participant in that.
Yeah, and I guess she did like a couple other things. Princess Nikki. So that's another one. Another thing I wanted to talk about, dude, like, and we'll if we have time, we'll get into it a little bit later. But like collectibles, baseball cards, jerseys, comic books, NFTs, the non-fungible tokens. People are buying like a piece of a digital piece of an internet thing. I don't even know how to explain it, but it's like something that's like a digital thing.
Yeah.
All these things are going off the charts recently. Have you heard about this phenomenon?
I have seen and heard of recent, cards or jerseys, Jordan shoes, just different things. There's different theories about that, whether, the pandemic has had people a little bit idle and looking to kind of, just motivate themselves in a different way and, acquire some collectibles or something like that. I don't know how the pandemic ties into that, but everybody's trying to tie the pandemic into every action now. But yeah, there's been a lot of movement in that area.
Sorry, just to go back for a minute, and I don't subscribe to this theory or whatever, but I did hear it, so I'll regurgitate it. Some people said that interview that they had with Oprah Winfrey when he was already kind of sick was a bad move, bad timing, and some people say it contributed to, do you buy into those theories that those type of things could really like hurt somebody at that delicate time in their life to sort of push them over the edge into?
Yeah, I guess it's possible to sadden somebody. A lot of times when you're sick, the key thing in getting better, they talk about your spirits, right? And your attitude and whether you're positive or negative. So, and I know doctors even, tell you that, your mental state has a lot to do with your physical state, how you're going to prepare yourself, so to speak, right? Get better. And interestingly enough, I didn't hear that, but I did hear today that Meghan Markle is not going to go to his funeral, which is interesting. Now, they said it was because her physicians told her because she's pregnant to not go. But man, I find that odd.
I'm sorry, dude. I don't like that chick. I think she's fucking bad news. And I don't know. I don't know the whole story. I'm not gonna fucking speculate, but you know, if anybody can afford a private jet with nobody else on it, probably is her. I guess there's other things to think about other than COVID when you're pregnant and flying. So I guess I don't know. I'm not a big fan of hers. We'll leave that one there. I forgot to mention that. But as far as the collectibles and all that stuff, getting back to that, yeah, a lot of people are plunking down their hard-earned stimulus check on collectibles too. I think some people tie it in with, so like people are not spending their money because, you know, we're all, you know, been cooped up at home for a long time. There's excess for, you know, for people who've been able to continue working from home and all that, you know, so there's probably an accumulation of excess entertainment dollars that we haven't spent on going to the movies, going bowling, going out to dinner, even though, you know, people order food and stuff, but that's probably a lot of money that's built up that people are maybe now dumping into collectibles and things like that.
Yeah.
Maybe some people think, oh, this shit's all going to hell, dude. Let's fucking buy whatever we wanted to buy all this time. Who knows?
Yeah,
these bills may never be worth anything again.
Yeah, and you know, there's been an increase in people doing like things to their house, like projects, remodeling. You know, obviously, real estate's been very hot, so that may tie in there, where you know people are buying stuff, you know, to decorate their house in a collectible fashion or expanding their collections for that, right?
Yeah, making, you know, maybe we're installing a pool, or getting that jacuzzi, or getting that sauna, we're beautifying our backyard, we are, you know, doing that extra room, that movie room, you know, whatever the case may be. Absolutely. I've heard a lot of that as well. I'm sending an invite to our boy Chad, who's in the chat, in case he wants to hop on at any point later. What the hell was I talking? What were we talking about? So collectibles, yeah. Okay, I'll ask. Have you delved into any kind of guilty pleasure post pandemic? You know, spending any like extra cash on you know, like maybe you had your eye on I don't know, some instrument or something.
Well, there
Have you
has
fallen
been,
into this trend?
there's been a couple things that that I bought, you know, tying into his instruments. You know, I'm a big Neil Peart fan. He passed away very early on in the pandemic, and yeah, and I did buy some. I bought like a couple of magazines that came out about him initially that were tribute magazines. I think I got a poster and some DVDs of some of his work and some of that stuff. So specific to that, I did sports memorabilia. I did not plunk down anything, but you know, that is always interesting, no doubt.
Yeah, I go through phases with that sometimes, obviously. I want to show this dude's fucking drums real quick before we move on, because when I saw that shit, when you showed me this for the first time, I was like, Jesus fuck, is that like a legit thing right there?
Yeah, that is a legit thing there, man.
Like, I don't even think your arms could reach all the way.
Yeah, no, he makes it work, or he used to, no doubt.
Does he really need all those?
He actually is one of the few, you know, some people have that for show. He actually plays all of it.
Jesus Christ, dude.
Yeah.
He's got like 30 drum sets right there.
Yeah. The Professor, rest in peace.
Okay, so speaking of collectibles, let me get this out of the way. Man of Action Figures, sponsor of the show. I have a couple of things here that I will show you that are available at manofactionfigures.com. And if you're in South Florida, you can go to 27551 South Dixie Highway, Naranja, Florida, 33032. You can go to manofactionfigures.com. You can email us info@manofactionfigures, and you can call us 305-255-1987. NECA Gremlin. This is the ultimate Greta, the female gremlin, sort of, cross-dressing gremlin we got here from the movie. Cool movie. Love that movie.
Yeah, good stuff.
Speaking about music, they're releasing these Funko Pop album cover editions. So this one is like based on the Linkin Park album cover. There's a Biggie one that came out recently. What else do we have? Chucky. Oh, Chucky action figure.
It's the coach of the Raiders.
Yeah. Good guy version. And then you get the evil face so you can switch him up. Another
What's
one.
that? What's that World War II thing you have over there?
We'll get to that one. Yeah, that is a dude off of Saving Private Ryan. He's the guy we talked about him on the podcast not so long ago. Barry Pepper.
Oh, okay, Barry Pepper.
That's his character. Yeah, that's a cool army figure from that movie.
Was he the sniper? I think he was, right?
He was a sniper. He said like a little prayer, I think.
Yeah.
When he was up there. Great Scott. This is one of my favorite movies here. That's Doc Brown from Back to the Future. From NECA. Save the Clock Tower. You know what? There's a lot of stuff here. I'll just kind of point them out. We got some G.I. Joe figures over there. We got some NBA figures. I got a Ninja Turtle over here. Let's see if I can do this. So that's quarter scale Ninja Turtle there. I got some Pops up there. The Mandalorian. I've got Kenny Powers. I've got some WWE figures over there. Mortal Kombat over here. Underneath that, I got that's Inspector Gadget, dude, down there. That one's really cool. Wow. I got this mask right here. That's kind of cool. Zorro and his horse is over there. A lot of great movies are represented in some of these toys that I have out here today. We talked about World War II Ranger there. That's Barry Pepper's character from Saving Private. Is that Saving Private Ryan? Yeah, Saving Private Ryan. That Red Death is from Red Dead. What is it called? Dead Red Redemption video game. Look at that Prince Vlad from
Bram Stoker.
Yes.
Dracula.
Yes. Not to be confused with Bram Stoker. That's Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Did I say Stroker?
No. In a previous episode, we did say that, and we all cracked up for a long time. And they made everybody. They made him as Dracula, and they made all the other characters. So that's some of the stuff from manofactionfigures.com that you could check out, and there'll be a full video.
Great stuff there, certainly. But you want to know something funny about that Dracula thing? Nick saw that not too long ago, and he hated it.
Are you kidding me, dude?
Yeah, he didn't like it.
Why? What was the complaint?
I guess it was very cheesy. I will say that when I saw it with him, it did seem cheesier than what I remember.
Didn't age well?
I guess that's probably that's the term. It didn't age well.
I mean,
I do like the movie.
A little bit goofy.
I do like the movie. It's got a freaking great cast. The cast is unbelievable.
Absolutely. One of the masters of disguises. I have Zartan from G.I. Joe, master of disguise back there. But if there's an actor who is the master of disguise, not only is Samuel Jackson kind of one of those guys, but I think even more, Gary Oldman is the
no doubt
master of disguise.
Yes.
Like he's unrecognizable in some. If they don't tell you it's Gary Oldman, you don't even know it's him.
Absolutely. Great actor. And, you know, not that he's as good of an actor, but somebody who's kind of also known for disguises of people forget is actually Johnny Depp, man.
Absolutely. He's another guy. He likes to do a little role playing and stuff.
He's not at the level of the Gary Oldman, but certainly you know, does like to put his disguises on.
Now these pictures are not very big, but like you know, he's Commissioner Gordon, he's Dracula. Look, you know, this one from Hannibal over here.
How about that one from True Romance? That's a shocker.
Yeah.
When I first found out that was him, that was pretty shocking.
It ain't white boy day, is it?
Yeah.
Clarence Worley. That yeah, that was shocking. I never knew that was him. I guess he played Elvis at one time or something like that.
I did not know that.
Great actor. Never like a leading man, but you know, freaking, you want to have that guy.
Oh,
you know.
By the way, since you mentioned it, did he not play Winston Churchill?
Did he?
In The Darkest Hour?
I don't think I've ever seen that. Is that worth watching?
Yes, it is. Yes, it does. Yes, it is.
Okay.
But yeah, I think it's him.
Oh my God!
I'm trying to tie Winston Churchill Day with our Gary Oldman conversation.
There's all type of segue going on, intentional, unintentional, but that it says, yeah, it's Gary Oldman, dude.
Wow.
When is Gary Oldman Day? And Gary Oldman is actually becoming an old man now, right?
Yes,
living up to his name.
Yes. Yes. By the way, when another thing great about going to London, Nick and I went to this tour of these basically Winston Churchill's underground command center under London in former like subway tunnels and all that. It's pretty badass, man. It's like this underground bunker where they did all their military, because you know they were getting bombed just about every freaking day, several times a day.
His underground layer.
Yes, it was freaking badass, man.
He probably had his cigar stash.
There is a section there that shows where he actually, you know, where his kind of sleeping area was and all that. It was pretty cramped down there, even though he had the biggest area. Gary Oldman, the greatest drummer ever.
No, that's a sort of a late comment when we're talking about Neil Peart.
Yeah.
But Gary Oldman probably is. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he's a good drummer.
Or Gary Oldman will play Neil Peart later.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah, that could happen.
Yes.
I could see that happening. Let's move on to a little bit of pop culture stuff. Are you familiar with the Cash Me Outside girl?
I am not familiar with that.
The Cash Me Outside girl was she was on one of these shows. Let me not fuck it up. Let me look it up.
Educate me.
Yeah, but I mean, I wish Jonas was here. He knows way more. She was like on Dr. Phil or one of these. Okay, yeah, here we go. I got
Dr. Phil?
Yeah, you know the Dr. Phil show?
I do know Dr. Phil, but I didn't know he had any kind of standing guests.
He has like a show, or had a show, where, you know, he brings in like troubled people, and I guess he tries to give them advice and help them. So it was a September 2016 episode of Dr. Phil. She was 13 at the time. She was says here, rebellious, belligerent attitude, and left her mother seeking help from Dr. Phil. The girl, Danielle Bergoli, seemed to be in a highly combative and violent relationship with her mother, claiming to have run away from her 4 times in one day on an occasion. upset at the audience for laughing at her too many times, Bergoli challenged him to a fight with the phrase, "Catch me outside, how about that?" Catch me outside, how about that? The way she said it was very funny, and it kind of went viral, and there was a lot of memes, you know, and the "catch me outside, how about that" kind of became a thing 5 years ago when she was 13.
Wow.
Well, now she's 18, and she went on, I also fuck this up all the time. I wish Tank was here. Is it OnlyFans or Fans Only? I can't remember which way it goes. Are you familiar with OnlyFans?
I heard of it, yeah.
Okay. You know, people go on there to make a couple extra bucks, you know,
Yeah.
doing different things, not safe for work stuff most times. She got on there, dude, and she made within hours over $1 million.
Wow.
So that was kind of big thing in the news. What stuck out to me is it's funny how you could go from 17 and like you can't even look at her, and then 18 and you could sign up for a subscription to you know, see the goods, so to speak.
Seem a little bit more of her.
Yeah, get to know her a little bit more intimately.
Yes.
Kind of weird how we are as a society with that.
The whole social media, electronic world is quite the cash getter, right?
Yeah, non-fungible token, Bitcoin, all this stuff.
Oh my God, Bitcoin out of control, man.
I bought some, dude, and it's been a month. I haven't made any money.
Dude, isn't that thing like 58 grand or something now?
To buy a whole Bitcoin. I don't have a whole Bitcoin. I have a bit of a Bitcoin.
Oh, okay.
You could buy little, you know, like a piece of a Bitcoin. I guess they aptly named that because, you know, you could buy like a piece of a Bitcoin.
That thing was under $1,000 just like 4 or 5 years ago, I think.
Well, you always hear about people becoming millionaires, but I never like actually met one. Like I never met a dude who like, yeah, dude, I put it all in 5 years ago. Yeah, those are probably the people who stopped talking to me that I don't know where they are right now.
I did hear of this couple on the radio, and they were talking about how they had invested in Bitcoin, and I forgot the application that they used to buy it. And when they bought it, you know, it was like really cheap years ago, and it went up obviously in price. And they tried to access the account, they could not remember their password. And I think the last time that they were on talking about it, they were like one password attempt away from having the account locked and losing everything. And they didn't know what to do. And it was like a big ordeal. There's a lot of those stories, I guess.
Yeah. We talked about a couple.
I don't know how many of those are true too, right?
Dude, there's so many stories. You know, there's back in the day, it was used primarily for like illicit drug purchase or other illicit transactions because they're like they're traceable on the blockchain, but not really traceable to what and who, right?
Right.
So there's stories of people like getting some to buy ecstasy or whatever, and then so you bought like, let's say you bought 20 Bitcoin, right? And like your transaction was 15 and you had 5 left over, which at the time was like, whatever, 5 Bitcoin, maybe that was fucking $5. Who knows what that was, right? Like not much. But now 5 Bitcoin is fucking $300,000. And those people are like desperately trying to look up on their old laptops, their password, or, there's even more extreme scenarios. There's a dude in Europe somewhere who has millions of dollars on his laptop hard drive somewhere, and that thing was thrown away and it's in a landfill, and he's proposing that they let him dig up the landfill to find his laptop, and that he'll pay the city like a majority of the share of the millions of dollars. But they're like, no, dude, we're not gonna do it. I mean, it's probably impossible to find it, and if you did, it's probably going to be impossible to extract the information.
That's a tough one, man.
Yeah, I mean, the key to the whole thing, I'm a novice. I don't know anything. You got to have a wallet, a digital wallet, and Jesus fucking Christ, dude, write down that password somewhere, put that in a safe deposit box, fucking tattoo it on your butt cheek if you have to,
Yeah.
you know, secure that password. I don't know. Never met anybody who made money off that, but you know, it's
No, not directly. No.
they say that's the
A lot of
future.
great stories out there, but no.
Yeah, they say it's the future though. We'll see.
We'll see. Well, you know, and they're pushing. There's a lot of people pushing that everything but regular old-fashioned greenbacks is the way to go. Whether it's gold, precious metal, silver, whatever it is. You know, there's a lot of people who think there's going to be a catastrophe in the very near future, and standard currency is not going to be worth a hill of beans.
Yeah, what is it that they say in Star Wars? Republican credits are no good here.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's gonna be a time where you're gonna go with some fucking cash, and they're gonna be like, "Nah, dude, that's no good."
Some people say that's already happening. You know, that there's hyperinflation that's going on, and it's slowly eroding, you know, your currency, and you're not really paying attention to it, but it's happening.
Well, that's kind of, you know, that ties back to what we're talking about, those collectible prices going crazy, you know, house values. Then, you know, there's people who say, hold up, dude, it's not really that those things are getting so expensive. It's that your dollar ain't worth shit. So that's an adjustment, and you got to put more of those dollars to get the same thing because the value of them is not really what it was, dude. I mean, $100, dude. You used to go out with $100 and you were like, hell yeah, boys, we're gonna have a fucking good time tonight. You got $100 now, dude. You're like, dude, I'll fucking pay a little bit of the bill. You can put the rest. You know, it's like,
Yeah.
Can't get much for $100 anymore. Used to be $100 in the '80s was $100, dude.
Yeah.
And then you talk to somebody from the '60s and they were like, $100. That was my down payment for my fucking car, dude.
Yeah.
It's just
hyperinflation, and it slowly eats away at that currency, and you don't really pay attention to it, but it nibbles at it slowly but surely. The grocery store is another place you'll see it, right?
Absolutely. Dude, let's move on to a little crime news.
There's plenty of crime news.
There is a lot of crime news. I'm going to lead it off with kind of a revisited topic here. Dude, there's some type of thing going around.
Yeah, she's complaining that she's in terrible jail conditions.
Yes, but then they kind of fired back saying she doesn't really flush the toilet and that she willingly has a mess in there. Coinciding with this, like her family, I'm not going to visit the website, but her family opened a website, you know, claiming what a good person she is and how this is all a misunderstanding. Blah, blah, blah. Dude, why can't we just freaking start the trial on this bitch?
Man, it's so hard to
just
believe.
Ghislaine Maxwell. Sorry, I didn't even say what we're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, it's so hard to believe that this person was like completely unaware of what a sleazebag this guy was, and that she wasn't involved in some degree. It's just so hard to believe.
Yes, I have a bridge to sell you if you believe that.
Yeah. In fact, I'm probably thinking she, you know, she had a little fun with some of that herself.
Absolutely, dude. She was the madame. She was the. Some people say she was even worse than him. Who knows,
Possibly,
right?
yeah.
But that's been obviously we have the Derek Chauvin trial going on. I haven't really kept up with that. I whatever I've read, it just sounds like, you know.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting because I think the prosecution rested this week, and a couple of firsts in that trial, man. You know, in previous cases like this, they've talked about the blue wall of silence, right? Which is typically, you know, the United Front that cops have, right, in these types of cases. And this is one of the first times that that's really broken down. You had the chief of the department testify for the prosecution against Chauvin, obviously an employee. You had other cops that came in, all of varying ethnic, backgrounds, white, black, everything, to really talk about how improper his tactics were, and that's quite the shocker. Usually there's a lot of solidarity. They call it the blue wall of silence for a reason, right? And it seems to have cracked a little bit, certainly in this case.
So basically, there's nobody on his side as far as the like officers and stuff like that.
Well, I don't know at this very point. I remember initially, the police union always backs up their people initially. I don't know if they've kind of backed off on that. I haven't seen any fellow police, police officers testified. But then again, it's been the prosecution case up to this point. The defense case will now start, I believe, this coming week. So maybe we'll see some of those other, officers or professionals, back him up on that. Gotcha.
What is he looking at? Do you know? Like, what kind of time is he looking at?
I've heard things like they've overcharged them, and that's what happens a lot in these cases, which is what makes, the other side very disappointed when they get out, because usually these cases are very emotional, and there's a lot of pressure on the local governments to show a strong face towards it, right? And
Right.
They tend to overcharge those defendants, and that's usually why they get off, because when the jury gets the instructions and, hey, this is what you got to look at, and this is what direction you need to be able to convict, it usually doesn't connect. And then that's usually how these folks get out. It's usually because they overcharge them, and whatever they did doesn't fit that charge, right?
Right. So like if I obviously this is, I'm boiling this down to simple terms. If I jaywalked on my way to robbing a bank and I didn't really rob the bank, but they don't charge me for the jaywalk, which is really what I did. They try to just go for the bank robbery, but it wasn't me. Then I get away with that. So like,
right.
And I remember at the time they were like stepping it up. No, it has to be more. It has to be more. And that same thing was said by a lot of people at the time, experts, like, it's going to be harder, now to convict them, because now you got to prove, I guess, you killed somebody. You killed somebody on purpose. You planned killing somebody. Like every time it's harder to prove all that. And then, yeah, absolutely. That's how you could, a good lawyer will get you off, because, they're trying to overcharge you, I guess, like you said.
Yeah. So, that's, I think the prosecution kind of finished up their case, or is about to, and then the defense will get going. They had a ton of strong witnesses, from, just about every field, from medical to police to, everything, forensic people, and, pretty solid case they put against this guy. And again, the case is not that he committed premeditated murder, that he just overstepped his boundaries and, went overboard, right? With his tactics, is really what anybody is saying here, right?
Yeah. By the way, do you have a new camera?
No.
No? Okay. Maybe it's a different angle or something.
I did move the angle. Yes.
Okay, it looks pretty crisp though. All right. Any other crime news before we move on to politics?
Geez, I guess the other crime items are, there's the Capitol attack, I guess. There's been a couple of mass shootings. There's been
some involving former NFL players, right?
Yes, the football player that wiped out like 5 people.
And we don't even know why, doctor. Right?
Yeah, and now like they're saying it could be CTE, and he was on medication and stuff. There was the Denver shooting, I guess, a couple weeks back, and of course, all those Asian assaults that occurred, and of course, because of all this, now they're digging up the gun control, the gun regulation type discussion is coming up again.
Which is a segue, to the next section. We're going to talk about politics and, Biden. Is he alive, by the way? Like, I never see this guy.
Yeah.
It feels like he's not even alive sometimes.
Yeah, he is.
He's like the anti-Trump, right? Like Trump every day, you saw him on TV or heard. Like, I never hear from that's got to be a concerted effort, right? Like, hey, dude.
Try not to talk, right? Talk about prone gaffed, right?
Maybe it's a good strategy,
Yeah. Well, they did that during the campaign, right? Wasn't he in a basement for months before?
He was in his bunker, yeah. Kind of like Winston Churchill. Yeah.
Yeah.
But he's got this besides the gun control, which he has put into some, I guess, executive orders for some gun kits, which I'm not that. Here's my thing with the gun control. Like, it starts small, right? So then and you kind of start take that away. It's gonna take that away, and then like how far are we gonna go with it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that. A lot of the things sound very reasonable, but I just sometimes worry about like how far they could go. One of them is the kits. He wants to either, I think, put a ban on gun kits. That's not going to affect me. I've never bought a gun kit. I don't want to build my own gun.
It's funny. Somebody Susie's husband did that, but
oh, really? He's into building his own?
He built one, but you look at that and you say to yourself, out of all these mass shootings, how many of them occurred because somebody built a ghost gun, as they call them, or a 3D printer gun? Or there hasn't been. Most of these killings, unfortunately, have been, with weapons that were purchased in a legal manner. They weren't even stolen. So
it's so easy, dude. If you wanted to, there's so many ways, dude.
I mean, the bottom line is
legal or illegal.
Yeah, the bottom line at the end of the day is you just don't know who's buying it at the end, right? And there's no true way of knowing that without, basically
some sort of psychological evaluation.
Yeah, or something that would make it so onerous that people would probably not go for it and say you're challenging their Second Amendment rights, right?
Yeah, no, I get it's not a fucking easy. It's not an easy thing, It is weird.
I'm in favor of common sense things. Sure, like background checks and things like that. I mean, that obviously makes sense. But at the end of the day, like I said, a lot of these weapons are bought very legally and through a process. And what is the disconnection is, okay, who's buying it, right?
How old do you got to be to buy a gun?
For a gun, you got to be 21. For a rifle, you got to be 18. That's a little. I don't have a problem either raising the rifle age to 21 either. I don't have a problem.
I don't think I would be bothered by raising the age to 25 for both things.
Or even 25, but the fact that a rifle's 18 and a gun's 21, I think that's a little weird.
Yeah. Now, I am definitely in favor of allowing 15-year-olds or I can't remember the exact age. I'm in favor of, allowing young children to hunt under the direct supervision of, an adult, and learning, because I really think that that's an important part of, people not doing stupid things with guns later, is learning about them, understanding about them, it not being a mystery to them. They're not being like a fascination, or I gotta have to sneak around and grab this because I really, you know what I mean? Like, I think education is paramount when you're talking about this subject, and
Yeah.
I think those are positive things. I don't know. I'm not gonna talk out of my ass, but like, I don't know how many of these people were like hunters, for example. How many of these?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if, and I'm in favor of, certainly the hunting and education and training of firearms and stuff like that. Um, again, I think it's the psychological and mental health piece of it. And, there's a lot of people that buy a gun when they were, mentally, intact. And then maybe down the road that erodes and things happen and you change, you have issues and all that. And there isn't a way that, there's not a system that goes back and still checks like a license. You got to renew your license every year or every few years, whatever it is, right? There's nothing like that for firearms, right?
Well, that's one of the things he was talking about, called a red flag. I think they called it the red flag law, where they would, and I don't know how, a lot of times you always go back, and it goes back to social media. These people that commit these crimes, they go back and they say, oh yeah, he was posting weird things, odd messages, and so I think that's what's coming. Some sort of, I think they called it a red flag law,
Well, yeah,
where they could try to, almost like that movie where they try to stop you. What's that movie where they try to stop you before you do the crime? You know what I'm talking about?
yes, yeah,
I think Tom Cruise in it.
yeah,
Minority Report. There's a
yeah,
couple
something
other
like
ones
that.
too like that. So it sounds like that kind of thing.
Well, but a lot of those red flags too depend on everybody being registered and law enforcement knowing everything about the person and what's happening. So, for example, if you get Baker acted or determined to be mentally incapable,
And Baker Act, for the people that don't know,
is basically when you call the cops and you tell them, hey, this person, my family, or this person, my neighbor, whatever, they're mentally unstable. The cops take them away and they put them under observation. I think it's 72 hours or something like that.
so they could be a harm to themselves. Sometimes
Yes,
drugs
yes.
are involved. A lot of times in those Baker Act scenarios.
Right. So those red flag laws, basically what happens there is you would tie those things together. So as soon as, Randy had any kind of mental scenarios or,
That happens almost all the time.
or the bum, is going to a mental institution, the first thing they do is they check the gun records, right? And they see, oh, wait, he's also a gun owner. Well, you know what? What we're gonna do is we're gonna confiscate his guns until he is deemed, fit to operate in society again. Then we'll give him his guns back. So a lot of those red flag laws have to tie in, the gun records with your mental health state and be able to take the guns away from those people that suddenly start to crack up, basically.
How long before we're chipped?
Hey, if you pay attention to some people, that's what this vaccine is. We're already being chipped.
But do you think that like the children of our children will be living in like a chipped type society where you're like scanning your arm to pay for shit or to travel.
Well, when you say chip, people recoil and say, "Oh, that sounds terrible." But let's look at it logically, right? You have your phone now. It's basically a computer. It's connected to everything, your finances, so many things of your life. At some point, somebody's going to say, you know what? I'm tired of carrying that. If I could have it inside of me and I could access the same thing, that would be that'd be perfect.
I don't know if you saw the episode we did. Most people don't watch the episodes we do, but if you saw the episode we did, which was on these old stories, which were Jesus fucking Christ, the names are escaping me. These two famous writers. It was 1984.
Oh yeah, I saw that. That was your George Orwell
versus Brave New World.
Yeah, Brave New World.
And then that's one of the things is, we don't need to. One of them was will be feared, and the other one was we'll do it on our own.
Yeah.
And that is a scenario where we're gonna do something on our own. There's gonna be people saying, "Hell yeah, just fucking put it in, dude." I don't gotta carry this. I don't gotta lose it. All my shit's there. And we're gonna volunteer to do that, which most people, when they thought about that 20 years ago, be like, fuck no, dude, I don't want them to know what I'm doing every second of the day or where I am or what I'm, whether I'm doing, whether I'm doing something, even, if I'm not doing anything illegal, I'm just living life. But like, we're already cyborgs, dude. We're cyborgs.
But you know what? What happens is a lot of those things start to creep in voluntarily because they make sense. For example, like they're going to start saying, well, for your parents, God forbid, if they get Alzheimer's, you want to be able to track them. A lot of those people, they just kind of open the door outside and they start walking and they get lost. So, hey, let's put this collar around it. It starts with a collar or a wristband or, a little chain that has a button. And it starts like that. A lot of those things start legitimately as a good idea, and then they morph into, oh my God, how did this happen, right?
Exactly. And then it's too late.
Yeah.
So Biden has a big infrastructure bill.
Huge.
I think corporations are kind of targeted to pay a lot of that, if I understand that correctly.
I think he's looking to increase the corporate tax like from either 21 or 25% to nearly 30%, like 28% or something like that. So, obviously when corporations hear that, people say that's going to be a massive job killer. I've heard a lot of different economists have a different take on that. And what's interesting is I think his name is Larry Summer, who was on the Obama Economic Council. And I don't know if he was actually head of the Treasury, but obviously he was a Democrat. And obviously he was, Biden was in that administration as the vice president. But it's unusual when somebody of the same party knocks down like a proposal from somebody of the same party, especially the president. And he said that he's very concerned that bill may lead us to hyperinflation and serious economic downturn. And that's pretty shocking when one of their own says that. Now, having said that, do I believe that we have a crumbling infrastructure, that our infrastructure compared to many countries around the world is super behind? Absolutely. We absolutely have to invest in our infrastructure, and I think it has to happen. Whether this bill is way too big and is going to cost too much money, I think is the debate, right?
Yeah. Dude, how do some of these companies like Amazon and other big companies not pay any corporate taxes. I don't understand that.
Well,
Have you heard of this?
I think they do pay taxes, but I think, the old adage that their secretary, Jeff Bezos' secretary probably pays more taxes than he does. That it's not like he doesn't pay any taxes, but that, people below his income probably pay more taxes than him is certainly possible, right? And that's just because of our tax code, right? And the fact that those people who have $1 bazillion have all kinds of attorneys and people that put in effort to be able to, to game the system legally.
Absolutely, yeah. They have the best
The
people.
best of the best.
Yeah, and I forget the president, dude, who said this, but there was one president who said, it's your duty to I don't know if he said these words. I'm butchering it, but like, you're allowed to legally find the way for you to pay the least amount of taxes. That's what you're supposed to do. Like,
I think Trump said that too.
Yeah, he sounds like the kind of guy who would say that. But it's an old. I'm talking about like some guy way back. It's from the beginning of time. I can't remember who it is. I wish I knew who it was or the exact quote. But it's to that effect. A little more politics. Dude, this Gates guy, he sounds like he's fucked, dude.
Yeah, that sounds pretty screwed up.
The last one I read, he's from Florida, right? Florida representative.
Yeah, and he's been a staunch Trump supporter, and obviously that's really what has kept the focus on him. Because you look at some of the other politicians that are in either equal or even worse footing than this guy, and certainly they don't have the attention that this guy has now.
Yeah, like Cuomo is probably, molesting old people before they die with no problem right now, and we're just paying attention to this guy. But he sounds like he is in some deep shit here, because I read an article, and I don't know if it's, you don't know what you read, but that like he sent some funds, and I think they were like government funds to some guy who was a known, or now he's in a case for trafficking, and then he sent the money to him, and that guy sent the money to girls, and one of the girls was one of these girls, and there's like a paper trail now, and it's not looking good.
No, yeah, I've heard some of that. Before all this broke too, unusually, I think it had come out also that he was living like with a young man, and I guess the way he explained it was it's somebody he was mentoring, but there were all kinds of questions about what that relationship really was. It wasn't like a family member, like a
This is all sounding very Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah,
like
it wasn't like a nephew or anything, and that sort of blew over, and then this kind of popped in, where he may have traveled with a girl that's been trafficked by this guy that you're talking about. Nothing looks good here for this guy, man.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to end well.
And the fact that he's a Republican and he's heavily associated with Trump is really not helping.
Yeah, and he is doing that Trump, I hate to say it, he's playing that Trump card right now, where he's, doing the same thing Trump did when he got accused, but this looks far worse than anything. Okay, let's be honest, dude. Trump, worst case scenario, what did he do? He banged,
Stormy Daniels,
a lady of the night, if you will. You know what I mean?
a porn star.
Yes, who was a woman, right? She's a woman, a grown woman. Um, there's other details, of course, but
Yeah.
this is just. Let's move on from this one. It's definitely looking worse. I want to transition to a little sports. The segue into that is, a lot of sports nowadays are kind of getting mixed in with the politics too. So
Yeah,
the
MLB is a big one, yeah, right now.
baseball right now,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Tell me about that. I think you know a little bit more about that than I do.
Well, the Major League Baseball All-Star was supposed to happen in Atlanta and in Georgia. And Georgia recently, well, if you remember going back to the election, was a part of a very contested senatorial races. And, there was a lot of stories about voter fraud and some strange things that were happening with elections, and the governor there, Republican government, made some changes in voting laws and various things around that. And a lot of people have felt that these changes are voter suppression, that they're about really stifling and disenfranchising voters. And basically, Major League Baseball felt heavily apparently about that, and pulled the All-Star game out of Atlanta because of it, out of the state of Georgia because of that. And I guess they moved it to Colorado, I believe.
Is this unprecedented?
I don't remember anything like this. So for me, it certainly is.
I mean, in professional sports, I have to think. I would love to know of another one. I know there's been different type of protests with Olympics and amateur sports, but I don't think I've ever seen anything quite to this extent in professional sports. I know there's a lot of, the NFL got behind a lot of causes. The NBA got behind a lot of causes. There's certainly MLB. I don't know that one. I don't know enough about the whole scenario, but it seems like an extreme move late in the game too, right? Because you're doing it like, when's this All-Star game? In a couple of months?
Yeah, and it's funny because I saw some people getting interviewed about this in Atlanta, and a lot of them were Black business owners who felt that they were getting screwed twice.
Absolutely.
They felt they were getting screwed because of these voter law changes that the governor did, and then they got screwed when MLB basically pulled out the All-Star there, and their businesses that were counting on that, keep in mind, during a tough pandemic economy, they were betting on some of this extra business from the All-Star game, and now, they pull out and they feel like, wow, they've been bitch slapped twice here. And the Black business owner has been, has suffered the most.
Definitely. I can definitely see that point of view. Like, I don't know what the sentiment is, if MLB is catching flack for this, or if they're being hailed as heroic, or if this goes down party lines, or what the story is. But Jesus, those people, this kind of seems like they're getting double whammied. It's almost like when your kids are fighting and one of them's innocent, but they both get punished. So they both get kind of, one of them gets, not only did one of them get hit in the face, but he also is going to get punished later because you didn't know, who was right or wrong.
Yeah, I think the problem that I have with this is, let's forget about taking sides, right? But my concern is this really occurring because they care, or because they're trying to be proactive in the pocketbook and make sure that they don't line up in a position that's going to hurt their bottom dollar, right? Because a lot of these social issues have been occurring since the beginning of time. And now is when these sports are taking, these positions. And I just wonder, is it just that they've had an evolution and that's where they are now? Or is it because they're being extra cautious that they don't want to be on the wrong side of losing money? And they want to protect their businesses in a proactive way as opposed to genuinely being concerned with that cause, right?
Yeah, I do think it's a risky, slippery slope to take a position on that, because what if they don't? Are people going to call them out for not taking a position on that? Like, would they have caught heat for holding the All-Star game there as normal?
And that's what I guess that's what I'm saying. I think that the leagues are trying to be proactive and not getting caught in that, right? I don't know how much they really feel strongly about the cause as opposed to they want to avoid the backlash of potentially being told, hey, I can't believe you're holding the All-Star game there.
It seems like most sports are right wing, kind of like Hollywood, right? Would you say?
You mean left wing?
I'm sorry, left wing.
Yeah.
Are any sports right wing? In your opinion?
I think we exchanged a text on this earlier today. Certainly people would tell you NASCAR is.
Yeah, definitely NASCAR seems more right, and maybe hockey is maybe like the right of the North, if you will. I would think. It's just, I don't know, dude. I never thought about those things when I thought about sports, till recently. Like, that never really crossed my mind.
Well, and and every what they say, every action has a reaction, or every cause has an effect, whatever you want to say. There is a price that you pay when you do these moves in the other way, right? And there's plenty of evidence to show that there's been other sports fans that have pulled away from sports because these leagues are making these social stances in another direction. And maybe those fans that believe in this other point of view are moving away from those sports and sports in general because of them taking these stances, right? For a lot of people, they see sports as an escape. And if they're going to be confronted with social issues and politics and all that, and their sports is going to start getting into that, they may pull back. And statistics have shown that a lot of people have pulled back from sports because of that.
Yeah. I mean, do you know people personally that have kind of, I don't want to say boycotted, but maybe, not really into it that much?
I know one guy that's pretty much, it's funny. Like maybe a year ago, he told me, man, the only thing I'm going to watch going forward is competitive shooting. The guy doesn't watch any of the major sports anymore. He was really offended by it. Really started with the whole kneeling in the NFL. This guy's a staunch conservative, and he basically gave up on sports. He doesn't. And then I know other people that are different levels of that, variations of that. People that are mildly disgusted all the way to I'm not watching the NBA anymore. I'm not watching this or that because I don't want to see all these slogans on the players' backs. I don't want, and it's look, I'm not saying wrong or right. I'm just kind of.
No, yeah, we're just talking about the picture of things. I mean, I know people who have stopped watching certain sports, and I know people who maybe, they're not paying for that season pass anymore. Maybe they're just watching the big games, or maybe they're watching less. There's levels, right? Some people have gone to the extreme where like, I'm not until, that's it. I'm done with the sport, and then there's some people who've just watched less. I think they've been affected, dude. I know NBA talked about pulling back. I haven't watched much NBA this year, but I know after last year, Adam Silver said they were going to pull back on a lot of the branding and all that. I don't know if that has happened or not, but I know they said that, and a lot of people said, yeah, that's the ratings. And ESPN's another one that's gotten, super political of late too. Which I don't know if they're doing that because they were declining and they're trying to gotta get something. You always think because it's a bottom line business, right? All of these businesses are really they're businesses, right? Every business is, unless it's a charity, they care about the bottom line. So you wonder sometimes about that, what the motives are for them doing these things.
And some people will tell you, look, this isn't any different. This has been happening for years. Back in the 60s, there was a time where Bill Russell and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Jim Brown and Malcolm X, they all got together. Muhammad Ali, and they all got together and, they protested and they basically went against a lot of the top sports at the time. People say this is just an ongoing struggle and this is just the evolution of it. And others say, it's gone too far, whatever you want to say. I guess it depends on where you're coming from. But this has been, when you look at it, it's been a topic that's been around for a while.
Absolutely. We're about ready to just transition into pure sports right now. Anything else on this political sports climate thing before we move on to just pure balls and bats and gloves and other things?
I'd like to leave the politics behind now.
Okay. I did not watch any Final Four. I don't know if you did.
I saw I guess it would be the Final Four game where that miracle shot from Gonzaga, buzzer beater, that was pretty cool. But aside from that, I didn't watch much of it. No.
By all accounts and everything I've read, it seems to have been like one of the greatest tournaments of all time.
Yeah, I've heard that too.
This undefeated Gonzaga team who has all these, miracle things, and then they get to the final, and then they actually lose to a first-time winner, right? Baylor Bears, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
Possibly so, yeah. And I think they handled them pretty handily too.
Yeah, I kind of I don't know. I had a feeling that was going to happen for whatever reason. So that's good. I'm glad it was a good one because they missed this last year, right?
Right. I think they had a lot of problems, and even this year, to some degree, they had a lot of problems with COVID, but they were able to finally kind of get through it, so to speak. I gotta say, I thought that the NFL was going to be a lot worse than what it ended up being during the COVID, and they almost ended up being the best ones that managed it. I guess basketball, I mean, they had a freaking isolation bubble. It's tough to beat that, but I thought because of the nature of contact and the number of players that the NFL was going to be a lot worse than what it was, and it ended up not being that much.
Yeah,
or as bad.
It got a little dicey there
at times. Yes.
Yeah, but they pulled through. Baseball got a little dicey also at times, but they pulled through. This is coming up now, dude. The 2020 Tokyo Olympics.
Is that official? They've postponed that a couple times, right?
Yeah, they're still calling it the 2020 Olympics, and that's scheduled to start July 23rd. All the apparel and branding will still be 2020 Olympics, but that's set to start. I heard that they will be offering the vaccine, but not necessarily enforcing that everybody have it to compete for the Olympics.
Yeah, that's a subject that's gaining a lot of ground. That whole vaccine passport and mandatory vaccines for different things, whether it's attending sporting events or traveling, or there's going to be a lot of court cases over that one.
That's such a complicated thing, dude. Like, we can barely give people the vaccine right now at a large scale. If you then add to that controlling the vaccine, and then you add to that controlling renewal of said vaccine, Jesus, you're going to have to create a whole vaccine
Business.
Investigation bureau, or chip us. I hope, how are you going to do that, dude? I'm with our governor on that one, where he's completely against that whole.
Yeah, he's going to fight that one tooth and nail.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think he's got probably the Supreme Court on his side on that one. I can't imagine that ever being 100% sanctioned.
Yeah, I mean, what are you going to do, dude, when the next disease comes out? You're going to have the whole thing again with all that. It's just, it seems kind of crazy, dude. A little boxing news for you. Oscar de la Hoya is training for a comeback fight.
I heard that. And I also heard that Tyson was going to fight Holyfield.
Well, that I had heard a while back. Did that resurface now again?
I did hear it again recently. And I thought Holyfield had like dementia.
Yeah, I really wouldn't want to see them fight. I'm not sure if this video's playing.
Yeah, it is.
Apparently, this is him.
You know what? When he boxed, I was very into boxing. Obviously, into boxing before his time. But, man, this guy fought a lot of great boxers and lost.
Yeah, he was the Golden Boy, as his name at one time. I have to say the guy didn't really run from anybody though, because like you said, he lost to the best, but he fought the best, and that was a pretty good era, dude. Let's look at his boxing record. Do I have it up on the screen?
No.
Okay, come on, Randy, get with the program, dude. Okay, De La Hoya. Where's his boxing record here?
I think he should have beat Trinidad, and I thought he did beat him. But I think what would happen to him is that his style was not overpowering, and a lot of times he'd lose decisions because he wasn't clearly dominant.
Yeah, so he was 39-6, 30 wins by way of knockout. He got knocked out twice. He lost to Manny Pacquiao. That's his last fight. He lost to Floyd Mayweather.
They were both old at that point, right?
I mean, Manny Pacquiao is still fighting, dude, and this was 13 years ago. I don't think Pacquiao was quite as old. Pacquiao, I consider him old now, but this was 13 years ago. This is kind of prime Pacquiao, I think.
Is it?
In 2008?
Yeah, I guess.
I mean, Pacquiao's in his 40s, so like maybe not prime, but like pretty fucking close to his prime.
Yeah.
He lost to Floyd. He lost to Bernard Hopkins. But come on, dude. Those are three of, the greatest boxers.
No,
I don't know. I don't know if I'm fucking throwing that term out loosely, but those are 3 all-time greats.
No, I got it.
Shane Mosley, another loss.
Yeah,
Also
I
an
think
all-time
didn't he lose to him twice?
He did.
Yeah,
And then Felix Trinidad was his
yeah.
first loss.
I thought he beat Felix Trinidad, and
That was controversial.
Yes, I have to tell you, that's a singular, very particular moment when I started my decline of boxing, in how they judge things and how these fights were made, and I remember clearly that fight because of that.
Puts a sour taste in your mouth when something like that happens. But let's not define him by who he lost to. Let's see if we can define maybe who he beat. Let's see some of the names that he did beat. I mean, Ricardo Mayorga, solid guy. He beat him.
Did he beat Julio Cesar Chavez? He may have, right?
He beat Arturo Gatti, who was pretty good. Ike Corte, who was pretty good. Julio Cesar Chavez, but this was an older Julio Cesar Chavez.
Still, that guy was rock solid.
Yeah.
He beat Hector Camacho, probably in his latter years.
The light hitting Pernell Whitaker.
Sweet Pea. That guy died, right?
Yeah, look, he beat Cesar Chavez twice, actually. I didn't realize that.
I mean, that's kind of his claim to fame, really.
Yeah, he beat him 2 years apart, 2 times. John Molina. Not seeing a lot of big names here early in his career. He couldn't beat Floyd Mayweather, but he beat Jeff Mayweather.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, his career was built on, I guess, the Olympics, Cesar Chavez, and then he fought a lot of great people and lost.
Yep. Yeah, I gotta agree with you. And they're saying he may fight like an MMA guy, which leads me to, this is next week, Askren versus Jake Paul, which is another one of these kind of celebrity boxing guys fighting another guy who's not really a boxer, but they're going to fight in a boxing match. I don't know. This doesn't really... I'd watch it if it was for free. I'm certainly not putting my hard-earned stimulus money on this one. Are you excited?
Stimulus money.
Yeah.
I got to tell you, without any embarrassment, I mean,
you have no idea what this is?
Well, MMA I really don't follow, and boxing I haven't followed in years. So I would love to start following boxing again if somehow I knew there were, some good fighters and that the game isn't rotten to the core. I'd be the first one to follow it. I was a big fan, pretty much from the late 70s all the way through, the early 2000s.
Yeah, it's coming up, dude. It's coming up. I think it is. This is not part of it. This is bullshit. This is a YouTube star who fought a couple guys, knocked the shit out of former NBA player Nate Robinson not too long ago. And then this is a former MMA fighter who was not known for his striking while he was an MMA fighter, Ben Askren. So, I don't know. This is a money grab. Now, for you guys who have been holding out on getting back into boxing, let me see if I can sort of tempt you.
Reel you in.
Let me see if I can reel you in. Did I spell her name right?
Just her being a her. It's a good start.
She fought today, and she's made a thing of going into the weigh-in in her lingerie.
Well,
am I sharing the screen?
You sure are.
How do you feel about this? Some people were insulted.
I think she's in great shape.
You know what, dude? I think she looks fucking great, obviously. When
I gotta tell you, and I'm sorry, I'm just gonna sound. You're probably the podcast is gonna catch on fire. They're gonna put bombs in your car, or maybe mine. I don't really care for women fighting, man. I don't.
What are you, fucking Stephen A. Smith?
I there's no appeal to me in this, man.
It could be interesting. I definitely am more of a fan of her weigh-in.
I was just gonna say, if we could have her weigh in and then have, a real boxing match, I could probably deal with that combination.
There's some really talented MMA fighters and boxers too.
There's no doubt this is one of them.
Yeah. But I don't have any problem with this. And to the people hating, the dudes go up there basically like in their underwear, dude, and weigh in. What's the difference really from her doing this than when the dudes weigh in?
Except her underwear is prettier. That's it.
Yeah, most of the people hating on her are probably don't look as good as she does.
I would agree.
But she did lose a decision tonight on DAZN. It's funny how look how different she looks when she's fighting. It's not.
No, it isn't very nice. She looks like Gary Oldman.
There he is again.
Wow, is that guy that tall, or is she? What is that?
I think there's some sort of angle situation
problem there,
going on there with that one. That is Ebane Bridges.
What's her name?
Ebane Bridges. Yeah.
Wow.
She's an Aussie.
Wow.
You're a fan of Game of Thrones.
They're putting it. They're actually running it again right now as the 10th-year anniversary of it.
Oh my God! Well, you certainly know who the Mountain is.
I do.
The Mountain is gonna have a boxing match with his arch rival in the strongman world, and that's coming up later this year. What is the guy's name? I would be interested to see that because this dude weighs like over 400 pounds.
Yeah, that guy's huge, man.
I think this is the guy he's going to fight. These are the two guys that are going to fight. I don't know how they pass any kind of steroid test. That's what I'm not sure of.
Yeah. Do they even test for that?
In boxing? Oh, absolutely. But, I don't know what level boxing this is going to be. They're obviously never have fought either one of them. But I'd probably be interested to see what happens there. That's coming up later this year. John Madden is 85.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy. And that's it. He's at that point where you don't see him anymore, which means one day we'll just hear he dies.
Yeah, his birthday yesterday, April 10th. Happy birthday, John Madden. Let's take a look at this real quick. 5 things you probably did not know about the Hall of Fame coach and broadcaster. Let's see how many of these 5 things we know. Lifelong coaching friend. I did know this. Longtime friend of Robinson. John, is it John Robinson?
The California guy?
Yes, lifelong friend of his.
Yeah. Is that guy still alive?
I'm not sure. Let's look it up.
He coached some great USC teams.
Worst tank when you need him to look stuff up. He is still around. 1943.
Wow.
Yep. Let's see what else. What else? Career-ending injury, blessing in disguise. I didn't know much about his playing career. So
no, neither did I.
I didn't know this. A lot of times you don't know. Great player, usually not great coach, right? In any sport.
Typically, that's
a hard double whammy, right?
Yeah.
Usually You got to be like in baseball, you're like a backup catcher. So you're watching a lot. You're working with the pitchers a lot.
It's funny because the quality that is common to all players that are good coaches is always spoken in their level of effort, preparation, and student of the game, right?
Yeah.
That means they fucking sucked.
That means you had a lot of time to study the game and not play it, usually.
That means you sucked as a player.
Yeah.
And you were coaching already when you should have been playing.
Exactly. Number 3, record-setting head coach. Yeah, I knew this guy had one of the highest or the highest winning percentage ever.
Didn't play. He didn't coach a long time.
No. 759 win percentage.
And you know what was a big factor in that? He hates flying.
Mm-hmm.
He's terrified of flying, and he hated flying, and that was one of the factors that he was very concerned. Aside from the coach burnout thing, that was something that weighed on him a lot.
Yeah, he had the whole Madden bus when he was commentating and stuff later. Yeah, he had definitely like a quirky guy. Let's see, what's the last one here? Number 4. GOAT meets a GOAT. Finally, the final Super Bowl broadcast for the iconic duo. My favorite commentating duo, Madden and Summerall, was Tom Brady's. This is sad. Tom Brady. He comes up again. This is I didn't bring him up. He just came up. Tom Brady's first of 7 Super Bowl wins, with Summerall and Madden providing the backdrop. All right, let's not dwell on that. Number 5, Madden's cruiser earned Hall of Fame honor. I did not know that.
Why would that be?
Why did his cruiser get inducted into the Hall of Fame? I guess that's a pretty cool thing to have sitting outside in front of the Hall of Fame.
I guess it's also the amount of games that it went to, right?
Yeah, it's like an iconic historical vehicle, dude. It ushered around this iconic coach and commentator. That's pretty cool. I didn't know that.
I did not know that either.
So there you go. That's John Madden, 85 years old. Got a couple more sports notes about football. Deshaun Watson continues to be in deep shit. What do you think that guy's gonna play, dude?
I don't know, man. Every time, like, I'm beginning, like, soon. One of the people that is like accusing him of something is going to be somebody we know, like somebody intimately that we know, because the guy's like, I mean,
it's a matter of time before we do a Kevin Bacon thing.
Yes, it's 6 degrees of Deshaun Watson. It's like, oh no, he used to go. My ex-girlfriend was violated by him or whatever.
If you know any masseuses, you might just fucking have a Kevin Bacon situation going on.
You know what? The NFL has shown that if you're good, you're going to play somehow.
Not Ray Lewis. Not Ray
Rice.
Yeah, Ray Rice.
Well, they had footage of that, so that's kind of tough. Look, they had footage of Kareem Hunt. He got cut, but he's playing again. He's been playing. They don't have footage of this guy. So,
but what was different between Kareem Hunt and Ray? Jesus Christ, I want to say Ray Lewis every time. Ray Rice.
That's a very good question. What is different there?
Yeah, what was the thing where they said you can never play again? You just take a year off.
It wasn't even a year off. It was like 8-game suspension or something. Half a year.
Yeah, you may be right. I think he may have come back like later in that year at the end.
Yes.
NFL draft is coming up in, what do we got, like a couple weeks maybe? Something like that?
Yes, sir.
We will be doing a show with the boys live here in the outdoor Goat Pen Studios. That'll be fun, and we're going to do this first round that we're looking at right here. I think Hialeah is going to do like some mock draft thing. Also, we are picking at number 6 here in Miami. We are picking at number 18 here in Miami in this first round. We are picking next day number 36 and number 50. And that's so we got 2 first rounders, 2 second rounders. And do we have a third rounder? Yep.
Yeah.
Number 81. Is there more third rounders? Let's just. No, I don't want to see him. I want to do this. Control F. No. All right, I'm fucking that up. Anyways, what are we doing, dude? Are we gonna surround this guy with his fucking Alabama mates, or are we gonna fucking take best available? We're getting a receiver for sure. What are we doing?
I don't know, and that bothers me, because a lot of people would tell you at number 6 you should either pick, Jamar Chase or Devontae Smith, and there's even talk now that they may trade back again, and at some point, you just got to man up and pick some players, man. And, the whole idea of getting picks is great, but at some point, you got to make the picks, and they got to be good. And if you do get good players, you got to re-sign them, and you got to keep them long term. And those are a lot of things that they haven't done. So
yeah, they've done some of those things, but not all of those things.
Right. When they have drafted well, they haven't necessarily kept those players, and then other times they've drafted crappy. So
what would you like them to do with these 2 picks? Position wise. Maybe you don't tell me who, but position wise.
I'll tell you. I mean, at number 6, I would love to get Jamar Chase or Kyle Pitts. And then maybe at 18, get a running back if possible. I mean,
receiver, running back.
I think
that's your duel.
I think that would cover a lot of your needs.
Yeah, I'm 100% on board with that. I think that's a good scenario. I don't care what fucking college they played at, though. I don't necessarily need. I mean, whatever. I don't know. If the guy happens to be from Alabama, that's the best guy, great. But I'm not going to go out. I'm not going to reach a little bit to get you an Alabama guy. Because you might not fucking be here, dude. We were fucking thinking of trading you for Deshaun Watson until he started fucking putting his penis on fucking masseuses, right?
Yeah.
Or at least until we found out that he was fucking putting his penis on masseuses. So, allegedly. So.
I got to tell you, if you follow.
Because we were doing that trade, right, Bum? I was behind it.
And that's what I'm saying. If you follow the Dolphins like we do, that would probably be another example of bad luck, dude.
Oh, we dodged that bullet.
Well, now I'm looking at it more that you couldn't get the player. Forget that. I think you're thinking of it that you would have gotten him and all that would have came out and you would have been screwed. I'm looking at it that he just became unavailable. Is I think what sucks about that. That here's something that you were in position to probably pull off with the 3rd pick in the draft, and it blew up in your face.
You're saying it's bad luck that we didn't get Deshaun Watson?
Yeah, that suddenly he became so toxic and had these problems, because I think we would have gotten him. I think we were in position to get him.
Well, man, again, we got lucky, dude. We got to get lucky every once in a while.
Well,
we certainly have been of the history to have done that deal, and then this shit happened.
I don't know,
what I mean?
Man. I just think I don't know if I consider myself lucky not being able to get a great quarterback. I think it's unlucky that the great quarterback that we could have gotten had this suddenly penis masseuse problem.
There was also like some butthole
and some
allegations.
anal flossing.
Yeah. Let's not get into detail on that one. Did you know? Now I will, by my own accord, talk about Tom Brady. Did you know there's a third Tom Brady rule? And I'm going to look it up.
By the way, right now, Jonas and Hialeah are saying, well, it only took X amount of time before he mentioned Tom Brady.
Yeah, and if you're watching, this is your cue to take a shot. Whenever I talk about Tom Brady or the Tuck rule.
I'm going to take a shot.
The Rams, now this was 9 days ago. I don't know what happened, but the Rams proposed a third Tom Brady rule. Do you remember that play where he threw a pass, it bounced back to him, he caught it, and then he threw a pass again?
I don't remember it, but I could believe he did such a thing. And what, they want to outlaw that?
They want to make that penalty more severe. So what ended up happening was that was a penalty, but it was only like a 5-yarder. It wasn't a loss of down. They want to make that penalty the same as a similar penalty, which is, I'm butchering this right now.
Loss of down?
The penalty should include a loss of down. So
like an intentional grounding.
Yeah. So right now, as it stands, they did that and they only got like a 5-yard penalty off the yardage. They want to make that like a 15-yard penalty or something and loss of down, which would actually be like the third Tom Brady rule that we have. You're familiar with the other two Tom Brady rules, right?
Well, what, the one's a tuck rule and one is hitting like below the knees or whatever?
Yes. And they're all gay rules.
So people are so desperate to beat this guy that they want to make sure they put a rule that somehow he doesn't catch the ball and throw it again. Wow.
I guess that's one way to look at it. I mean, what are the odds that this play happens to him again? But
Exactly.
if you look at it objectively, it's a good. There should be a stiffer penalty. There should be a loss of down on that penalty.
What is the name of this penalty, or the one that he got?
It's an illegal forward pass, I guess.
Illegal touching?
I mean, that may be more what Deshaun Watson was doing. I'm not sure the correct term. It's a form of illegal touching, illegal forward pass, whatever you want to call it. But it should be, there should be a loss of down involved with it. Because I think like he got credit for the yardage. They just docked him 5 yards, which led to like a 4th and 2, which they could have gone for, but they ended up not going for it anyways. But like,
and it was the play that moved them ahead of Drew Brees as the all-time quarterback.
I don't know if that was the case, but I know he got like a complete pass out of it, dude. Like they batted the ball, he caught it, and then he threw it again and he completed it to, I think, Gronk or something. Okay, so speaking of shit in the Tampa area, there was some sort of sewage crisis disaster that was like avoided over there recently too, besides this Brady situation.
It wasn't really a sewage problem. It was a contaminated, it was a reservoir where they were pumping contaminated water in, and the levee that holds this water got breached and started to pour into, and they were worried that it was going to flood this neighborhood, and it would have been like these 20-foot wall of contaminated water. The water was supposedly like partly radioactive and also have high phosphorus and chemical content.
So we just keep this water like.
So I don't know if you know this, but one of the things that is like really big in Florida, mining, is limestone, because most of the state is made out of limestone, and also phosphates. And phosphates they use to make phosphorus that's used to make fertilizer. those are like two big things that are mined here. And apparently, like the phosphorus is very poisonous, and I guess they were dumping, from this mining and other places that produce this material. They basically had a big dumping ground of it, and it's just basically like a big ass pond. And then the walls that kept that together breached and started to spill that water into neighborhoods, and they were worried, that eventually it would completely give way and that whole reservoir was going to flood these people. You know how they diverted most of that water?
No.
They dumped it, or they're dumping it into the Gulf.
Fucking great, guys. Thanks.
Yeah. And what the phosphorus does, because it's a fertilizer, it creates algae blooms. It once it's dumped in the water, it creates more algae because, fertilizer makes things grow. And it produces more algae blooms, which chokes off oxygen in the water, kills the fish, and creates more red tide. So it's a complete disaster.
Have you seen Seaspiracy?
Yes.
It kind of ties into what you're talking about there with the oxygen, and I mean, we talked about it extensively recently. If you haven't watched it, people, it's on Netflix. Seaspiracy. I recommend it. It's gonna make you not want to eat fish probably for a while. It's for me, it's kind of like when I watch like Fahrenheit 9/11, and I think, okay, dude, some of the things are probably not true, but like, fuck, if fucking if a percentage of this shit is true, it's fucked up, dude.
Well, it's like I've asked you as a hunter, and I've asked people who are kind of fishermen, and they always say the same thing. Hey, you know what? Year after year, I see less animals. I see less fish. And I mean, you think about the fish thing, and when you look at those commercial boats with those mile-long nets just scooping everything up, dude, how that cannot be sustainable. There's no way.
With no regard for what you catch or what you kill or what you use. I mean, because, like, dude, when people bash on hunters, like, a hunter, it's so ridiculous, dude. This is one dude or a family who's going out, and for the most part, everybody is harvesting everything. They're not just going, oh, let's go kill some deer, dude. Just
still, like, unless that family is incredibly lucky and everybody shoots an animal, that's still maybe 4 or 5 animals if you were that lucky, which nobody is.
Right. And it's a conservation thing too, they control it.
And how could you compare that to those massive fishing ships that are just picking up everything in the sea bottom for miles along miles? That you can't compare it.
We're just, as a society, looking at the wrong people and at the wrong problems a lot of the times, and a lot of times it has to deal with money. Check out the doc. It's kind of fucking shocking.
It is pretty shocking.
Yeah,
I was shocked on that one.
This one was in the news this week. Shaq just randomly. This is an upstanding former Florida resident. He just randomly bought some stranger his engagement ring as he was in, I don't know, fucking K Jewelers or whatever, wherever he was. This dude was just there paying for his ring in an Atlanta jewelry store, and I guess he just had a moment of what do you call this? Goodwill.
Yeah.
And he bought the dude his engagement ring. I wonder what, not to downplay this fucking generous deed. I wonder what that equates to with the average man. Does that equate to the average man giving a bum a $20 bill? I haven't done the math.
Yeah, maybe so. I mean,
I'm not. It's a fucking nice fucking thing. Don't get me wrong. I'm just wondering.
I mean, like a decent engagement ring will be a couple of $1,000s.
Yeah, what's a couple $1,000s to Shaq? Probably $20.
Yeah, I
To
guess.
us.
Yeah,
But still,
I get your connection. Yeah,
it's a cool story, regardless. I'm not
yeah.
trying to shit on it.
It's very Elvish of him. Yeah, Elvis used to do shit like that. He'd buy you like a
Oh, really?
Cadillac. He'd buy you a Cadillac. You know.
What a guy that we missed out on having like an old Elvis fucking around, right? Like, wouldn't that have been cool to have like an old fucking Elvis, you know, making the rounds in the fucking show business world, you know? Never got to see
That would
that.
have been cool. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, how old would Elvis have been right now?
Gee, he died like in 77 and he was like 40 something, 41.
So he probably would have been gone by now.
We're very close to it.
That's 50. He died in 77?
I think like 77, yeah.
Okay, that's the year I was born. So that's 44 years ago. And you said how old was he?
Like 41 or 40 something.
He could have been around.
Maybe in his 80s.
He'd been like John Madden. Probably at the end, but still, you know, still around. Let's get into some movies, TV real quick here. You got time to keep going? I got some movies.
Keep going. Keep firing away.
I got some movies and then some car shit, and then we're done. Well, movie, TV, Kung Fu, very popular show from your time, probably. David Carradine.
David Carradine, famously upstaging a young Bruce Lee to take that part from him. It was supposed to be his vehicle to super American stardom.
Now, you know, we talked a little bit about this Asian hate thing, and on other shows we've talked about how, you know, they portrayed Asians in
the West
movies and Western, even like a movie I do really like, Breakfast at Tiffany's. Do you ever see that one?
Yes.
Do you remember The Neighbor?
I don't know his name. I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, like
yes.
Yeah, you know,
they
just,
that's how it was in the cartoons too. All the Bugs Bunny cartoons.
Yeah.
They had thick glasses and buck teeth.
Yeah. So with this new Kung Fu show, I guess they're trying to right some of the wrongs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think like everybody is of Asian descent in this new Kung Fu TV show. Let me see if I can find anything about it. New Kung Fu TV series. Let's see if we know anybody who's in this thing. Okay, so it looks like a woman is like the protagonist.
Oh, Jesus. Sorry.
A young Chinese-American woman, Nikki Chang, to drop out of college and go on a life-changing journey to an isolated monastery in China. But when she returns to find her home overrun with crime and corruption, Nikki uses her martial arts skills and Shaolin values to protect her community and bring criminals to justice, all while searching for the assassin. Okay, this sounds like a dud, dude.
Yeah.
I don't know. I hope I'm wrong. I don't know who Nikki Chen is, and they're not telling me who anybody else is in this thing. But anyways, there's a new Kung Fu show coming out. Oh, here's some other people. Shannon Dang, Olivia Liang, Gavin Stenhouse. I don't know any of these people, but
no.
I'll watch it at least once. You know what I watched the other day, and this is not relevant to anything in particular going on today. I watched a documentary about Steve McQueen and it was kind of like his life, and also mostly like his life around the time of Le Mans. Have you ever
Yes.
seen Le Mans?
Well, I saw Ford. Was it Ford versus Ferrari?
Yes, that
That
was a
was
recent.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Apparently, Steve McQueen was like very
Big into it, yeah.
into racing.
As a matter of fact, they say that he got his cancer from wearing the asbestos suits.
He blamed it on asbestos, right?
Yeah, and at the time, they used asbestos in those suits for fire retardant, for racing.
I mean, it could have had something to do with the 5 packs of cigarettes he smoked a day too.
Yes, he did. And let me tell you, man, Steve McQueen was probably one of the coolest SOBs in all of Hollywood. This guy was a badass, man.
What is sort of the heritage? Is it like Humphrey Bogart? Who's after Humphrey Bogart?
There's a lot of guys in that era. There's the Gary Coopers, there's
James Cagney.
James Cagney.
I mean, Scarface said it best, right? Humphrey Bogart, James
Yeah,
Cagney,
yeah,
guys like that.
yeah, exactly.
They teach me to speak English.
E.J. Marshall, is it? There's a ton of them.
Maybe James Dean for a little while.
Very little.
Yeah.
But this guy was a super cool cat, man. And I guess, he'd been around for a while, but really his super coolness really was in the 60s.
He was kind of getting to be an old goat around this time.
Yes. I remember one of the last movies that I went to see of him. It was called, he was a bounty hunter. And it was a story about a real bounty hunter that he was playing, Papa something. I think it was called the Hunter. I think it was 1980 or something like that. Maybe
that might have been like one of his last ones, right?
No, it was. I think it was his last movie.
Quite the ladies' man.
Big time. Big time. Well, that's what made him cool.
And I think Lightning McQueen is kind of named after him, right? From the Cars series.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, kind of like an Austin Powers guy, right? Like,
yes.
women want him, men want to be him.
Yes.
So it was pretty interesting. It was like a doc on Amazon about the whole making of the movie and his life, and like they just basically went out there and he really liked Le Mans, and he was actually actively racing at the time, but he had like a broken ankle and the insurance wouldn't let him, but he was going to race in the Le Mans race. I'm not really that familiar with the Le Mans race, but it's like a 24-hour race.
Yes. This guy, this guy is so cool on so many levels. So he was a ladies' man, but also he was a tough guy, and he did all his stunts. If you remember the movie, I mean, he was an actual racer, but if you remember him in The Great Escape, that picture right there that he's on the motorcycle, right there, he did all those stunts on the motorcycle himself. That's unheard of during Hollywood during that time. This guy was in so many great movies. Probably went out with some of the hottest chicks in Hollywood at the time.
He was involved in the whole, not involved, but he was friends with a lot of those people in the Tate murders and stuff. And even at the time, he thought he was a target.
That's right. And for a while, he was carrying a gun. He was quite afraid, actually, of the situation.
Yeah. So who would you say picked up that mantle? That mantle we're talking about, that Humphrey Bogart, James Cagney, Steve McQueen. Was Steve McQueen the last Steve McQueen?
Man, I'm gonna say probably so.
What even is there close to that?
Tom Cruise, and that's very light.
Maybe like a Brad Pitt kind of guy, maybe.
Way pretty. These guys were still men, you know. They weren't. These guys are kind of, you know, they're. I mean, look at this guy. This guy isn't pretty or anything, you know. I mean,
Right.
These are men's men. This is not like
I don't know why this guy keeps popping up. I guess his name is also Steve McQueen.
Yeah. What wasn't he in? Oh, he was the original Thomas. He was the original Thomas Crown. You ever saw that movie, The Thomas Crown Affair?
I have to be honest, I'm not well versed on Steve McQueen.
You ever watch Bullet?
Yes, I haven't seen the whole thing. I know bits and pieces.
You saw the car.
I am very familiar with the Mustang Bullet, and they've done commemorative. I think they might still make the Mustang Bullet, which is based on the Mustang. He used green Mustang in that movie. Yeah. Not sure if Man of Action Figures has that in stock. We did at one time, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, the guy was a badass, man. I can't think of anybody that kind of falls into that category, you know, recently or who took that mantle.
You saw a couple of movies today. You were telling me about a couple of classics.
Oh, yes. Well, yesterday I tried to watch Blade Runner 2, which Nick says was really good. And you know what? I was watching it. I just started watching it too late. It did look pretty good. Ryan Gosling and is kind of the primary guy in that. Harrison Ford is in the remake.
Right.
Today I was watching the Blues Brothers. That's actually you know, it's funny. I'm big fan of Belushi and that Saturday Night Live cast. You know, the Dan Aykroyds, Chevy Chase, Bill Murray, epic cast. But
love Dan Aykroyd, one of my favorite.
Yes, I hadn't seen Blues Brothers, as a matter of fact. Seen so many of the other movies, right, with these guys. And it's kind of like a very cool musical. To some degree, it's like a musical, but it's very cool. And somebody that I did not know was in that movie was Carrie Fisher.
Look at that. I had no idea. I've never seen that movie. Do I need to watch it?
I would recommend it. I would recommend it.
And then you told me you watched Next Friday again?
Next Friday. I don't remember.
Was that you that watched Next Friday or somebody else?
I've seen Next Friday, but I hadn't seen it recently.
Okay, I guess somebody else in the podcast chat said they saw it, and that's what I'm thinking of. Who said they saw that? Oh, I think Jonas. Okay, I'll have to ask him about that next week. He said he saw it, and the Michael Rappaport scene did not age well, was his commentary on that. I'll bring that up with him next week.
Friday was, you know, certainly one of my favorite movies.
Yeah, I've seen Friday way more than I've seen Next Friday. So these are the biggest divides between the audience and critic score on Rotten Tomatoes.
So explain this to me. Is this the difference between the little popcorn sign and the tomato? Is that what it is?
Yes. One of those corresponds with audience members like you and me, and the other one corresponds with like Cisco and Ebert kind of guys.
Got it. So I think the popcorn is the people and the tomato is the reviewers.
I guess, yeah, I'm not like 100% on that, but yeah, we'll go with that. So let's see what's on there. Monster. What is Monster?
Never heard of it.
Oh no, this is The Monster. Monster is the movie about that chick who killed a bunch of dudes and
Yes.
got electrocuted eventually, right?
Eileen something.
Yeah, who was played by
Charlize
Charlize Theron.
Theron.
Mhm.
I saw a movie with her today, Prometheus.
You've been watching a lot of movies, dude.
Yeah, well, it was Nick and I. It was Nick and I by ourselves today. So
who is she in Prometheus? One of the crew members?
she's like the main commander of the ship, who ends up being the daughter of the super old guy that conducted the survey to begin with, the party, the expedition.
What were your thoughts on that movie?
Mildly entertaining, but it does not hold the jockstrap to any of the Alien movies.
What would you give it, like on a scale of 1 to 10?
A 5.
Wow, so you did like kind of just
Yeah.
I thought it was pretty good, man. I thought it was. I mean, maybe I give it like a 7 or something like that. I liked it. I enjoyed it. Have you seen the next one, which is Covenant? I think it's called.
I have not. I saw that was one of the recommended movies. You know how it shows you other movies to watch?
Right.
I haven't seen that one.
Yeah, I've been meaning to watch that. I've heard it's good too. I guess so. The monster, which we don't know what it is, but I guess this has a big difference. Audiences didn't hail Caesar. Everybody loves the Coen brothers. If you check out their films on Rotten Tomato, even the super rare occasions, the Hutsky process. Okay, you know what, dude? I don't like this fucking list. It's kind of annoying. Is there another list?
I don't know, but I didn't recognize any of those movies.
No, that was the problem. The initial list that I saw, which I didn't have, one of them was, I think, one of the latest Star Wars movies.
Shocking.
But I remember there was like a whole campaign against that movie, and like fans were going on and rating it bad. Audience and critics, I guess, the word.
Yeah.
I think I saved them on my phone. Let's see. Do I have them here?
21 movies with a high audience score and low critics.
Okay, let's look at that. Maybe that'll help us.
These things are saturated with ads.
Yeah. Okay, start slideshow. The Lion King. Okay, there you go. And this is obviously the modern Lion King.
The live action.
Apparently, based on this picture at least. That's a fucking big difference, dude. 35 points. So critics hated it. Audiences kind of loved it. Oh, I guess why are these all Disney movies? This is also the new Aladdin movie. Again, audiences loved it. Critics hated. Now, there definitely is a fanatical thing about Disney movies and Disney fans. Have you noticed this?
That they're fanatic about the originals?
No, that there's just certain people who are Disney fans in general, and they will just kind of like never
just
really
consume anything Disney.
Right. You slap that label on there, and like that's it,
Yeah.
dude. It's kind of like buying a fucking a pair of fucking Air Jordans. I don't know.
It's a seal of approval.
Yeah, let's see if that trend continues. Shaft. The audience loved Shaft. Critics hated it.
And the critics gave it the shaft.
Yeah, exactly, dude. With our boy Samuel Jackson. And I think this is old Shaft right there, right?
I gotta tell you, man, I don't remember. I probably saw this movie and I don't remember it.
The original or this one?
Both, but I remember, I've seen it. I make a point to see every Samuel L. Jackson movie, so I'm sure I saw that, but I don't remember it, which tells me a lot.
Yeah, me either.
Because
This one's amazing.
Because I could tell you any Samuel L. Jackson movie.
Yeah, like I know of the movie, but I don't think I ever saw it.
Which
81
one is this?
Anna, it's called.
Never heard of that.
Me either, but it's shocking 81% to 26%.
Quite the disparaging number there.
Yeah. What else do we have? The Upside. Jesus Christ, the critics gave this the downside, and I've never fucking heard of this movie.
Actually, you know what? I've seen this.
And where would you fall on this?
Man, this was actually not a bad movie, but it's pretty like
Kevin Hart is in this.
Yes, when you like at first when you see this, Kevin Hart movie, it's gonna be funny, dude. It's kind of serious in a way. This guy's a paraplegic, and this guy Kevin Hart takes a job taking care of him, and it's serious. It's not a bad movie, but it's not what you expect going into it when you hear Kevin Hart.
So I'm guessing your score would be somewhere in between the critics and audience score here.
Yes, definitely.
All right. That is a big difference. 42 points. After. Jesus Christ. They don't even have a fucking picture of this movie, but the critics gave this 18%.
After?
Yeah.
Never heard of it.
We'll look into this after. Let's move on. Godzilla and the Monsters.
King of the Monsters.
Sorry,
didn't that just come out?
There was what just came out, I think, was Godzilla versus King Kong.
Oh, okay.
There's a lot of fucking Godzilla movies. I have never seen a Godzilla movie in my life. Can you believe that?
Ever?
Ever.
Not even when you were a little kid and you were watching.
Dude, it was on the TV at some point, but I have never sat down and seen a Godzilla movie.
Japanese monster movies were in line with, to me, it was like a rite of passage going from Japanese monster movies to wrestling. That was like, I remember doing that change.
Yeah, no, I for whatever reason, and you could get a lot of Godzilla merchandise at manofactionfigures.com, but I've never really gotten into them for whatever reason. I've never given them a chance, if I'm going to be honest. I guess I could do that at some point. What was the difference here? 42 points. Wow.
So what's the biggest point difference is 55?
I don't remember. I've been drinking and
Got it.
I'm just, these things are coming in and out. Never saw this Men in Black. I traditionally enjoy the Men in Black franchise.
Yeah, I don't remember seeing this either.
And it's funny that I think he's Thor and she's Valkyrie from Thor Ragnarok, and then they're doing this other movie, which is kind of curious. Tessa Thompson and Chris Hemsworth. There's a big difference here, but what both people agreed on, audience and critics, is that wasn't a very good movie, because even the audience gave it a 66.
Yeah.
A Dog's Journey.
Wow. Never heard of it.
Wow, the audience absolutely loved this, 93%.
That was mostly kids, probably.
I think mostly dogs. What do we have here? The Intruder. I'm not familiar with this. Dennis Quaid.
Wow, never heard of it.
He plays a creepy stalker man who sells his house to a married couple. There's a pretty big divide between these scores. Clearly, audiences.
Oh, look at him there in the window.
Oh, look, he's stalking them. Actually, literally. Not my kind of movie.
Stalking. There's been a lot of those movies, hasn't there?
I famously remember The Fan with De Niro and Snipes. Remember that one?
Yeah.
What
There
others?
was one with was it Kurt Russell?
He's a stalker.
No, like there's a cop that keeps barging in on him and his wife in their house or something like that.
I don't remember that one.
There's one where Samuel Jackson, like these people live next to Samuel Jackson, and Samuel Jackson is this really crooked cop and terrorizes them.
Wow. No. What's the name of that one?
I don't know. No, that's this one.
That's this one.
I don't even know.
All right. Let's move on. Palms. I guess this is some sort of cheerleading movie.
That's a great guess, Goat.
Palms star Diane Keaton as a woman who moves to a retirement community and starts a cheerleading squad.
Wow.
But again, only like 76% of the audience liked this, and they were probably mostly cheerleaders, so like not really, not really like that surprising here, right? Now, I've been meaning to watch this movie because I hate to keep saying manofactionfigures.com, but we have like merchandise based on this movie, and she's kind of like an AI fucking warrior kind of chick, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, even the critics is not terrible. They didn't hate it. They gave it 61.
Yeah.
61 is considered fresh, apparently. That's like the threshold. I may have to give this a try. Because you ever watch Ex Machina?
I think I did. That sounds familiar.
It stars Oscar Isaacs, and he plays like this inventor guy who's working on AI, and he lives secluded somewhere, I think like in Alaska or somewhere like that. And then some guy wins a contest to go spend like a weekend with him or something and study AI and like do the Turing test on a AI that he has there. And
Sounds familiar.
oh man, it's like one of my favorite movies. I really like it. If you're curious about AI or that kind of thing, it's a cool movie. And then it's one of those movies, at least I think, you could interpret, different people interpret it different ways. Sort of like another one of a movie I really like with Arnold in it, which is it Total Recall, the one that they go on vacation, but then it's like you went to a place and you got put in a machine, and then you go on vacation, but then during the movie, like you don't know if he's like really, if it was real or not.
Yeah, I think that's Total Recall.
But then you can interpret that movie like, was that part of the vacation that
they made a remake of that too?
Yes, with I think he's a British guy. What's his name? He was in that phone booth movie.
Colin Farrell. No.
Yes, Colin Farrell. Exactly.
Actually, that guy's a pretty good actor. Doesn't do enough movies.
Yeah, he was in Miami Vice too, the new Miami Vice, right?
Yeah. You want to see a fucked up movie that he did? Watch Killing of the Sacred Deer.
I think you've recommended that movie to me in the past, and I haven't seen it. Since I haven't seen it, what's it about? What's the plot line?
Oh man, you just gotta see it.
But loosely, without giving anything away.
I couldn't even explain it.
Okay, Jesus Christ. All right, Killing of the Sacred Deer.
Especially right now.
Okay, let's move on. This one I've been meaning to watch. Alita, Battle Angel. Glass, which this is the sequel to Unbreakable. Did you like Unbreakable?
I thought it was okay.
The critics hated this one. I thought Unbreakable was a letdown.
It was a letdown.
Oh,
But
Split. I didn't even know Split was part of this fucking trilogy.
Yeah.
38%, 70%. M. Night Shyamalan. What is this one? Tolkien. I have no idea what this is. Does this have anything to do with the Lord of the Rings lady?
I guess.
Dark Phoenix. This is the Marvel movie.
Sansa.
Yeah, not even fucking Marvel fans really like this, to be honest. And it is Sansa, yeah. Red Sea. Oh, here's another. Is this fucking Captain America? Yeah.
Yeah.
Red Sea Diving Resort.
What is that?
This Netflix movie with Chris Evans is about a fake hotel that was open to help Ethiopian refugees. This sounds like a downer, dude.
Yes.
Like, I don't want to watch this. He looks sad in the fucking trailer here. Best of Enemies. How many of these are these? Jesus Christ. Never heard of this movie either.
No.
Yesterday.
No.
I mean, everybody kind of gave it a decent score, but audience liked it way more than critics. Stubber. Okay, this obviously is a comedy. This is
with a bad as hell title.
Yeah, this is fucking Dave Bautista from WWE and fucking Guardians of the Galaxy. He plays Drax. Critics hated it. An action comedy about an Uber driver.
An action comedy about an Uber driver. Okay, that tells you everything.
Yeah. Super 30. It's an Indian movie about a math teacher who helps underprivileged students take an entrance exam to go on to higher learning.
Wow.
Like,
talk about it. I don't know if now the Ethiopian hotel is not more exciting than this movie.
I mean, I'm giving it a 33% just based on what I've read so far, and I haven't seen the movie. Secret Life of Pets 2.
It's basically a movie about a tutor.
Yeah, I mean, that doesn't sound exciting at all, dude. Like, I don't even like school to begin with. Why am I going to watch a movie about other people who can't fucking get through school? Fuck that, dude.
Oh, man.
I never saw Secret Life of Pets 2, but Secret Life of Pets 1 was pretty funny. I don't know if this one, was drop off. Audience fucking loved it, though. All right, I think that was it for the fucking movies.
Wow. Okay. Well, a lot of them I never heard of.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the common theme with them. Okay, and then there's one thing I wanted to talk about, but I can't I'm probably
Cars.
Yes, cars. I got a couple of medicine notes real quick. In Chile, by the way, 170 women got preggo after the government gave out faulty birth control pills.
Cool.
Can you imagine that, dude? Like, your government's like, yeah, here you go. You can fuck all you want. And
Don't worry about a thing.
You're fucking pregnant? 170? Jesus.
It's a lot of baby showers.
Yep. Or a lot of abortions. We don't know.
Yeah.
Well, in a lot of those fucking countries, there's a lot of like in Argentina, for example, like it was
human
illegal.
Harvesting
or illegal. Like, abortions were not legal in a lot of those countries still. I don't know if Chile is one of them. 17 name storms predicted this year for us.
For hurricane season?
Yep. Very active. Tomorrow, I heard in Central Florida, we're going to have possible hail and tornadoes.
Yeah, they had some bad weather. Vivian's in Orlando, and she said they were outside and they had to run inside because the weather turned on them pretty quickly.
Yeah, we are going to Jensen Beach tomorrow, and we looked on the map, and there's like some pretty fucking heavy duty storms in that area.
Is your sister out there?
No, we're gonna go check something out down there
Got it.
tomorrow. I tried to get somebody to go with us, but everybody's booked. There's some vaccine news. What have you heard on the vaccine front?
Oh, let's see. I think they recalled the Johnson and Johnson because of some people having some bad reactions to it. But they're still sticking by it and saying that overall it's safe. I think in Europe, the AstraZeneca, which hasn't been released here in the United States, has supposedly given people some blood clots.
I heard about the blood clotting issue. So what's the deal with the Johnson and Johnson one?
I don't remember the specific. It was just I just heard that some people got some very strong and unusual reactions. So they were, I don't know if they pulled it or they were gonna or they're investigating what occurred. But they still said that it was safe.
So if you already got it, you're good.
I guess, yeah. I guess if you get it, if you're in this category of having an effect or reaction to it, it would happen as soon as you get it.
Okay. Do you know who Malcolm Gladwell is?
I have several of his books.
Really? Okay, cool.
And I was lucky enough. I went to one of those IT big conference things, and he was a speaker there.
Oh wow! So what is his thing? What is his main thing?
He's just a writer who writes on various topics for the Atlantic. I think is the paper that or the magazine that he's with now.
Okay, so you're obviously like a fan of his.
A fan, that would probably be going a little.
Well, I mean, you have a couple of his books, so.
I have seen him speak live, and I have a couple of his books, and I do enjoy his observations.
Okay, so I'm gonna recommend to you to watch Joe Rogan podcast with him on it.
Oh, absolutely, that should be interesting.
And this is a tidbit that I got from him on that show, and I thought was really fucking cool. I am not into crime thrillers, but he said that you can categorize every crime thriller into 4 categories, and he categorized them: Eastern, Western, Southern, Northern. A Western takes place in a world where there is no law and order. A man shows up and imposes personally law and order onto the territory or the community. Makes sense, right? Most Westerns are like that.
Yeah.
An Eastern is a story where there is law and order, so there are institutions of justice, but they have been subverted by people from within. So we're talking like there's some crookedness.
Yeah.
In the institution. In a northern, law and order exists. Law and order is morally righteous, and the system works. A prime example of this is, of course, Law and Order, the show. So that's kind of like on a perfect world situation, right?
Yeah.
And then a southern is where the entire apparatus is corrupt and where the reformer is not an insider but an outsider.
What would be an example of that?
He said every single John Grisham novel is a southern.
Ah, interesting. Yeah, this guy has very unique insights.
I found them fascinating. The podcast was interesting, and I really, a lot of his thoughts and points were well taken.
Yes.
And I just found that little eastern, western, northern, southern thing pretty interesting. Cruises are going to be getting cruising soon, supposedly.
With what kind of requirements?
That's still kind of like up in the air, but like it sounds like they're going to ramp that up pretty soon. You probably know more than me about that, but
Well, as of right now, I don't.
yeah, that's all I know. That they're like in talks to get that started.
I mean, at one point, I heard that they were going to force people, or they were only going to allow people that were vaccinated to go. But I don't think anything like that will hold up in a court of law, and our governor is not going to support any of that. So I
And
don't
most of them leave from here.
exactly.
Did you see this monkey that Elon Musk had hooked up to his Neuralink device?
No.
So the Neuralink is something that they connect to your brain, and it's like a computer brain interface, which is like supposed to. So like we can only input information as fast as our thumbs go, right, on this device. This Neuralink is going to be some shit that's like hooked up to your fucking brain, and I kind of think of it like Terminator when he's fucking looking at shit and like he fucking there's shit that comes up, you know, like things he thinks or whatever, and they come up on the computer. It's like that. So he had I think let me look at the article. They unveiled a monkey that's able to play a video game only using its mind. Obviously, he was playing Pong, which is like the first fucking game ever that, well, not the first, but like the most well-known first. Yeah. So he had 2 chips implanted flush with the skull, sending brain signals from the monkey through a 1024 electrode transmission device termed the N1 link. The neural activity is then decoded and calibrated in order to predict the monkey's intentions. After just 6 weeks of practice, the monkey had learned to play the 1970s video game classic Pong in return for a banana smoothie reward. What do you think about this?
You know, it's a natural exploration that we're doing into a lot of these things, all to do with, you know, being able to get into, you know, ESP and mind control and, you know, tapping into our brains directly. I think it's kind of like, you know, we're going to get involved with all that if we haven't already.
Yeah, this kind of ties back to me to that thing where you're talking about the phone, and like people will be like, yeah, you know, it's more convenient, you know, like that thing will seem more convenient, but then fuck, dude, we're walking around with a fucking thing hooked up to our fucking brain predicting what we're gonna fucking think. And I love Elon Musk and a lot of the shit he's done, but I'm not fucking putting a fucking wire in the back of my fucking head, dude. You know, I'll fucking text with my thumbs if I have to.
Yeah.
Or not fucking text. One of the other ones. You know, then, you know, he does say, you know, this will help, you know, people who are missing limbs.
Say, yeah, people who are paralyzed.
Right. That's the positive part about that. Okay, so the last thing I wanted to talk about, and Jesus Christ, we've been talking for a while, dude. Some cars, dude. What are some of your, let's just do ugliest cars. Do you have any like ugly cars?
I think about a lot of the cars in the 1970s, like the Pinto.
The Pinto not only is an ugly car, but it was a very dangerous car.
Yes, it would explode if you hit it from behind.
Yes.
The Gremlin.
Very fucking ugly car. Let's show. They almost have a resemblance, I think, these two. So that's the Ford Pinto. Not only ugly, it's super fucking dangerous. There was some problem with the back.
The gas tank
Yeah, it would just fucking explode.
Yeah.
Who made the Gremlin? Not that Gremlin.
I think there's Gremlin the car. There it is.
AMC. AMC is kind of a similar looking car.
Yeah. This is the United States trying to get into the, Toyota Honda world.
Well, yeah, we're in the gas restriction era here too, right? So we're trying to get like fuel efficient cars, and yeah, that's a fucking ugly car, dude.
Here's the one that may beat all of those. The Pacer.
Who made that one?
God knows. Chrysler, maybe?
So far we're into like just purely 70s cars, it looks like, right? Well, these cars all three look the same. The Pacer has way more windows in the back.
Yes.
Maybe a little safer, a lot of more viewing. How about, do you remember the Pontiac Aztec?
Was it ass?
It was ass.
I don't remember that.
It was kind of like one of the last cars Pontiac made. It was like one of the SUVs were still in their early stages here. This thing was kind of ahead of its time, and it's, look at this. You could make like a tent out of the back of it and shit. It was kind of ahead of its time in that off-road, van life culture. But just like an ugly looking car, right?
Yeah.
How about any other ugly cars?
The Hugo? Was it a Hugo?
I remember some sort of Hugo, yeah.
Just the name.
Well, the name is lame, that's for sure. Is that this thing? Now, see, the car itself kind of looks like a Golf, a Volkswagen Golf or something like that. The name is lamer than the way it looks. That's for sure. How about cars with the worst reputation, which some of them were already named? The Pinto.
Yes.
How about the
Pontiac Aztec?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's up there.
How about a Pontiac Fiero?
I remember that. How about one that I had? A Dodge Shadow.
We'll show that next. I remember you used to tell me nobody ever tried to steal that shit.
No.
This was a cool looking car, the Fiero, but this shit caught fire, dude.
Yeah.
They tried to make like a poor man's Ferrari, but the problem was like the fucking
Trans Am or something.
Yeah, the fucking engine caught fire on a regular fucking
The
basis.
engine was in the back, right?
I think it was like a mid-engine or some shit. I'm not sure. I know they fucking caught fire. A Dodge Shadow, you said, or what?
I think it was a Shadow. There it is.
It's almost like a boxier Fiero. Look, this was a Shelby, dude.
Yeah, it was a Chrysler.
I gotta tell you, I don't fucking hate it, dude. I don't fucking love it either.
I had that thing. It was blue.
Here's the fucking Aztec here.
Here's the Gremlin. Or the Pacer, I'm sorry.
They all look similar, those three. The Gremlin, the Pacer, and the
The
Pinto.
Pinto.
And the Nina and the Santa Maria.
Yeah.
The Matador.
Wow.
That's another AMC. There's the Aztec.
Which was ass.
And you know who drove a fucking Aztec, dude? Fucking Walter White, dude.
Did he?
Yeah. In Breaking Bad.
Wow.
The Suzuki X90.
How about a Plymouth Fury?
Let's see.
Actually, that may be a nice muscle car.
They don't even exist anymore. Well, like Pontiac. Now, this old Plymouth Fury is not that bad. How about the worst names for a car? I'll give you one. Ford Probe. Why would you name your car
A Probe.
after an uncomfortable experience that people have when they get abducted?
Or why would you name your car after a hooker? Like the Ford Escort.
Okay. Never got that. But yeah, I can see your point.
And I think it was an ugly car too.
At one, there was a couple of years where
That
they
they
were
made
okay.
a sporty one.
Yeah, and it looked like a baby Mustang. But in general, yeah, not a very cool car. See, like right here, it looks like maybe like a shortened Mustang of the era.
I'm not sure about that.
Like, it's not terrible right there, but
Yeah, that one with like 500 spoilers.
yeah. It's like a smaller Mustang. Have
The
you ever
older
heard
ones look pretty cool.
which ones?
The older ones of those look kind of cool.
Have you ever heard of the Pajero?
El Paero. No, that's a tough name.
Yeah, dude. I don't know if they went by that name in the US, but you know, a pajero is like a guy that jerks off a lot, right?
Yeah.
So like I don't know if like I'm buying a pajero.
Or a guy that's always stoned. I don't know which one it is.
Mucha paja. There was another one with a fucking terrible name. I gotta tell you, like, I'm not a fan of like nowadays we have so many cars that are like the E5500, the T. You know, I know you're a fan of Acura and they make fucking great cars, but like I like more when they had names of cars. Now everything is like fucking an alphabet, and it's not just Acura.
You mean
BMW does it. Mercedes Benz
the
does it.
Acura Legend versus the Acura Legend versus the Acura TLX.
Yeah. Even though like the NSX sounded pretty fucking cool, that was one of their better just fucking letter named vehicles. But yeah,
How
like
about a Dodge Dart.
I like the 70s Dodge. Like 1970 Dodge Dart is pretty cool. But that may have been the only one. Like a 2013 Dodge Dart, not so much.
Not really.
But like that's pretty fucking cool.
How about a Dodge Duster?
Again, some of the like 70s, early 70s ones pretty cool. Then later, not so much. Well, see, they have a Plymouth Duster here. Plymouth that was all like Plymouth, Dodge, Chrysler, Eagle, Jeep. That was all like the same shit.
I'll tell you, my friend's dad had a ugly ass Le Mans.
That's funny you say that.
It had to be like a 70 something. It was a 2-door, but it looked like a fucking spaceship.
Well, on my next hit list to get a car, I actually want a Le Mans. And I know that they're fucking ugly. I'm either going to get a Le Mans or a Roadster. I found through some family pictures our first car that my dad ever owned. And I've deduced that it's most likely a 1975 Pontiac Le Mans. Let me see if I can look that up. I think he had a 4-door.
No, I'm talking about this guy had a 2-door and it had a weird back to it.
Are we talking like something like this?
Maybe.
It's not like fucking a beautiful car. It's a big ass fucking boat, is what it is.
Yes, that's what it was. A big fucking boat.
Yeah. There was something about those mid 70s, like late to mid to late 70s cars.
That were awful.
Yes, but there was like a sign of the times too, you know, like gas restrictions. People were shifting from muscle cars to like they wanted like spacious, you know, interiors. There's not many of these, dude, because most people fucking got rid of them and they're rust buckets mostly. I don't know if they used like lower grade materials on them, but like these pictures that I'm showing you, they're almost impossible to find like this.
Yeah, this is sort of the decline of the American auto industry.
Yeah, gas restrictions, smog pumps, catalytic converters, less horsepower.
Technology inside the car was pure ass.
Yeah.
It easily was the same technology from 30 years back.
Yes, with a less powerful engine.
Well, it would have a huge engine that was denigrated with all kinds of vacuum pumps and catalytic shit and vacuum secondary carburetors.
And the car weighed like twice as much as what they used to weigh, so that horsepower was like negligible in comparison to what the, you know, like you have 170 horsepower on this fucking boat and you have 170 horsepower on a Miata, you know, that Miata is going to fucking move a little bit, but this is not. But I don't know, dude. They're like a sign of the times, dude. I don't know.
I don't know
I
if
find
this
them
is the
appealing.
one. Now it looks kind of. It doesn't look as bad as what I thought it is. I don't know if this is the model my friend's father had. It was huge. It looked like the window in the back was smaller.
There was one with an interesting window. They made a lot. Like the Grand Prix was another one. And then there's a lot of horrible Cadillacs from this era. This is very similar. This is the Grand Prix.
This is huge too.
Yeah, they were all fucking boats, dude. But I think the Cadillac from like 1977 is one of the biggest. It's like as big as a Suburban, and it's a 2-door in a lot of cases. Like, look at this thing. And then they had like these bumper laws that came in that you had to have like these extra big bumpers. I think this thing got like 9 miles to the gallon. A lot of old people like these too.
Yeah, they're indestructible. You'd hit somebody with that car and they were totaled.
Yeah. And they also, you know, like almost felt like getting one of these Cadillacs when you were old was like, I finally made it. You know, I got my Cadillac, and like these you could find a lot of because a lot of these old people had them, you know, and didn't drive them that much and kept them in pretty good shape.
My dad had that red one.
This one,
Yeah.
the old Coupe de Ville.
Red like that.
Even 80s Cadillacs were not that different. You know, now Cadillac is a totally fucking different thing, right? Like you think Cadillac now, you're thinking like Escalade, probably, you know. But back then, it was all about getting this big old fucking land yacht.
You know, another big ass car was a Ford Cougar. Or was it a Mercury Cougar?
I think it was a Mercury Cougar. Let me see if I get any hits on this.
It was 2-door and it was huge like that. I remember my mom had a lime green one.
I guess there was a Mercury Cougar too. I'm sorry. Yeah, no, it's not Ford. It's Mercury. Oh, Ford. This first one is Ford.
That's a sporty one.
Yeah, that's an older one. Let's see here. Probably talking about something like this. Your mom drove around one of these?
Yes, that
Jesus
one right
Christ. This is not a woman's car, dude. This is like a fucking, it's another one of these boats.
there. This is a pimp's car. Yeah, dude. I remember driving that car too. I remember I bought my drum set, dude, and I was able, like this thing, the drums brand new came in these huge boxes, and
So
I was able
you
to
fit Neil Peart's drum set in like the
in
back
that
seat.
car,
Yeah.
in that car between the trunk, which was mammoth, and the back seat. And dude, look at that thing. It's a 2-door.
That was the most ridiculous part of the whole scenario where like it was this giant car and it had 2 doors only.
And then the back, the whole seat would move forward.
Yeah.
Would flop over.
So when I buy another car, I'm thinking of buying one of these boats.
Why would you do that?
I don't know. There's something nostalgic about it. It's between this and like a roadster.
Which roadster though?
Nothing crazy, dude. I'm not gonna. I'll tell you what I've been thinking of getting. You even remember this car? It's not that old. A Pontiac Solstice.
Yes. That's not too old. I always saw girls in this car though.
I know. It's a little more manly than a Miata, but yes. Okay.
Actually, you know, it's funny. A lady that I worked for drove this car.
I'm sure she did, dude. That's why you can get some of them nowadays that are not too beat up because ladies drove them. Like a silver or black one is like that's pretty cool. They're convertible. If you look at the back, let me see if there's any pictures of the back. It looks okay. Like it looks pretty cool in the back.
What year are these cars?
I think they are like 06, 09 era. Here's a 2006. This was at the end of Pontiac when they were trying to do different things. So they did that Aztec. That didn't work out. They did this to try to compete with the Miata. I don't know how much that worked out. They brought back the GTO, but it wasn't like really a GTO. It was like some car from Japan that they just rebadged. And all those things kind of led to the end of fucking Pontiac, which is like one of the original fucking early car companies, which is sad. So you're not feeling the Solstice?
No.
A Miata, that's definitely too ladylike. And then obviously like a Shelby is the ultimate roadster, but you know, who can afford a Shelby?
A Shelby Cobra?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's my favorite car.
Yeah, but that is like
Yeah, that's
Big
6 figures.
fucking bucks, dude. Like you gotta be fucking Jay Leno to have one of these, and it's a fucking death trap.
Yes.
You're basically like this little thing is supposed to keep you from fucking bashing your head in if you roll over.
That thing's a 427, man.
Yeah, you have to ride around with that helmet. I think obligated. It's a cool car. They have kick
Oh.
cars of it, but
Yeah, the
jeez.
kit cars are like $100,000.
Yeah,
It's such a bad car, man.
yeah. I don't know any other roadsters. What else is there? A roadster's basically a small. Yeah, BMW had some. It's basically a small, sporty two-seater.
Two-seater, yeah.
I guess the PT Cruiser was one.
Oh, that's horrific.
You don't dig the PT Cruiser?
No way.
Not
What
the PT,
about
not the
the-
PT Cruiser. I'm sorry. It's called the PT. Isn't it the Prowler?
Isn't is like an Austin Martin a roadster?
That's the PT Cruiser. Is it? I think it is.
Well, not the very new one. The old ones.
Looks probably like some Alfa Romeo roadsters. So this is probably like a roadster right here. That's a modern one, 2009.
Yeah, I'm thinking of. Didn't James Bond drive one of these? The one he wrote, like the really old one, with the spoke
Yes,
wheels.
like a
That's-
silver one.
Yeah, that's the badass one. Yeah, something like that.
Is a Carmen Ghia a roadster?
Yes, it is. As a matter of fact, I think it is.
I don't even know how to spell that.
That
It's
car
funny
must
that's
go
car
for
man.
what?
Yeah, Tim Allen has one of these in his collection, like a silver one. It looks exactly like this one actually.
This is a Volkswagen?
I didn't even know that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of that manufacturer for whatever reason. Like I don't.
I have two guys in my job that have Volkswagens. They swear by them. They're super old. They do all their own work. They love the car. I mean, it's crazy.
No, I know there's enthusiasts, that
Yeah.
swear by them, and then there's people who are into the bugs and the old little vans and Volkswagen Golf and all that. But I don't know. I've never been attracted to that brand. I'm more of like a General Motors kind of guy. I like fucking Chevys and Pontiacs and GMCs and Cadillacs. Okay, so if money,
How about a Corvair?
a Chevy Corvair.
Yeah, that.
So you sound like you would like Tim Allen's collection. He has like a lot of these cars you've mentioned in his collection. Which one of these is speaking to you?
I kind of like all of them. I don't know why.
So if you had, let's look on eBay. Fuck it, eBay. If you decided you want to buy an old car that you like,
That's like one of those things I haven't entertained because I know that I'd probably jack myself up and end up doing it.
but let's say you wanted to have something to go, a grocery getter or little weekend cruiser. What would you go after?
Gee.
And yes, once you get into them, it's like it's fun, but it's a headache, dude. I have 4 old cars, and like I think right now 3 of them are in the shop.
Yeah.
It's a mission.
Life is hard enough.
It is. You have to really like fucking like them and want to have them to like put up with all this shit. Here, I'll go first. This is really what I would like to fucking get. At some point.
A Lincoln Continental?
Lincoln Continental. It doesn't have to be specifically this year, but around this year. Let's look at this one. Obviously, Kennedy died in one of these. It was a limo version.
I did not know that.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't a 65, but it was a Lincoln Continental limo. Let's see what this guy's working with. He's got some sort of like matte paint on his. Suicide doors.
Wow, that's huge.
It's a big fucking car, but it's very luxurious inside. Like, they don't make cars like this anymore, dude.
This reminds me of a Buick Electra.
A Buick Electra?
Is that what I'm thinking of?
Let's see. I think that's more an 80s car, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see. No, yeah, they had old fucking Buick Electras. Did they have suicide doors? No, not that model. That's, geez, that looks like a Regal.
Yeah, it does. I remember there was a huge version of that car.
Now,
There you go.
the cool thing about this fucking car is the suicide doors, and like for 1965, it had everything electric. Windows, power locks. This guy doesn't even have any mirrors on his. But that's also their fucking downfall. That hardly any of them have that working anymore, and it's a tremendous mission to get that fixed on these cars. I'm surprised he didn't show a picture with his fucking suicide doors open.
What, the electrics don't work on them anymore?
On these Lincoln Continentals, yeah, dude, it's like every car that I've inquired about, Lincoln Continental, the driver's side window doesn't work, and it's like I'm not a tremendous fan of the convertibles. It's a big fucking job to fix them. Well, look at that, dude.
That thing's a couch, man. Look at that. It's
Look at
bigger
this.
than my couch.
Look at this clock, dude. This old school clock. I don't know. That's beautiful, dude. Look at that hood ornament. A lot of badging. It had a giant engine, but this fucking car weighed probably 2 tons. It took some great pictures, whoever is selling this. They are also selling it for $92,000. So
Wow.
that better be a very special Lincoln Continental. And this was also famously used in The Matrix. You remember this from The Matrix?
Yeah.
All right, that's what I would get. What would you get?
Oh, man. I mentioned one of them already, a Shelby Cobra.
Oh, Jesus, dude. Would you rather have a house or would you rather have a Shelby Cobra?
Exactly.
Basically what it boils down to. Hey, look, you get $110,000.
Yeah.
It's a 2020, so that must be a kit.
Yeah, of course it is. Look at the real one is down there, and it's $500,000.
A Phantom is like fucking $500,000.
What about a Barracuda?
That is one of the ultimate fucking muscle cars for me.
Put that thing on there. in lime green with black racing stripes.
Well, these are toys.
That is a badass fucking car, man.
I don't even think they have like cars.
I think this is one of the most rarest of the muscle cars.
Yeah, it's one of the top. And I think 1970 is the best.
Rare, I mean, to be able to find it. I would assume this goes for $100,000.
If you have like a legit fucking, is this the same as a Hemi Cuda? Let me see. The Hemi Cuda is a little bit different.
It's pretty bad too.
Look at the fucking front end. It literally looks like a fucking barracuda teeth.
Oh, you want kind of that big boat look, but with a lot of firepower? How about a Grand National?
But that's a dope fucking car, dude. 1987 Grand National. I had the Jeep version of this. My mom gave me a 1987 Buick Regal.
This thing had a supercharger, right?
Turbo. It had a turbo V6, if I'm not mistaken.
They hauled ass, man.
Yeah, and they only came in black like this.
Yep.
And these right now, if you get like my friend has a mint condition one, he won't sell it for less than $45,000. That's on the high end. His has low miles and a sunroof, but I don't think you can get a nice example of this for like under 25. Really cool car.
Yeah, it is a cool car.
A boat by today's standards, but like not really a boat by.
It was inconspicuous, you know. To the untrained eye, they'd be pulling up to your grandmother's car, and then you'd leave them in the dust.
Yeah. What are those called? Those have a name. Sleep. Is it sleeper? Not a sleeper.
Hertz 442. Yeah, that's another bad one.
There's a 1970s version that's a boat that I kind of like. I can't remember what year.
Oh, Monte Carlo SS.
Yeah. Look, I like this, dude. People laugh at me. This is a boat. I showed this to Milton. He was like, oh my God, that's hideous. But I like that it has the T-tops.
You know what's another one that I thought was pretty rare too? A Roadrunner.
That was a Plymouth Roadrunner, I believe. There's the Monte Carlo. It's gone through many fucking changes, but the 75 was a big boat. The Plymouth Roadrunner was a fucking cool car, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, like and then you have like the Superbird and the fucking the ones that look like this.
There was a guy in my neighborhood that had this one. It was yellow though.
I have never seen like one of these in person.
Yeah.
There was another one that was not the Dodge Charger Daytona, which looked similar to that. Can't spell. And the Dodge Charger Daytona, if you ever watch Cars, he's kind of based on one of these, not one of his rivals. I think just looks ridiculous, dude. There's something about this paint scheme where they do that like stripe at the end. I don't know. It's really cool. But I think I would rather have just a straight up Dodge Charger 1970. in black. With the lights hidden inside there.
Yeah.
I even like the gas tank for, I don't know. I like the gas tank location back there.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I just think it looks cool. The General Lee, right? Obviously, here's one.
Yep.
Is one of these. All right, bum. That's a lot of fucking car talk. That's a lot of talk.
That was good, man.
Anything else we got to get off our chests?
I think we covered it all, man.
We covered an extreme amount of things. Where are they now? Do you have a where are they now before you go? Have you thought of a where are they now person? You know how they would do those shows, you know, like somebody who was famous or big at one time and then like you don't hear about them anymore?
Like David Hasselhoff.
Where is he now?
I have no idea.
Well,
You
let's
know
check
what's
it.
bad when you think of a where are they now and you realize they're dead.
I don't think he's dead, but yeah, that sucks.
You play that game Dead or Alive, right?
Yeah. Okay, let's check on David Hasselhoff, make sure he's still alive, and we'll get the fuck out of here. What a huge fucking star in the 80s. Well, even like a 90s revival, right? With Baywatch. The Knight Rider was the shit, dude.
Knight Rider, dude. That was a bad car. Speaking of cars. I remember people doing that to their cars in Hialeah.
Making them look like Knight Rider.
And putting the light on it.
Yeah. There's a couple articles here about his wife looking hot and him saving the Baywatch show. But
remember, like he had like this video before it was popular to leak out videos. He had a video that leaked out of him completely trashed, like
eating a burger
yeah,
on the floor.
Like, yeah, in his bathroom or something, eating a
no, he's like on his kitchen floor.
I thought it was a bathroom. It could have been a kitchen, and he's like completely blasted.
I think his daughter put that video out to kind of like embarrass him with his drunkenness.
Intervention.
Yeah. There he is. I mean, I could see myself like this in 30 minutes if I had a hamburger, I'll be fucking honest with you.
Are you showing something?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
The only thing I need is a hamburger so I can be looking like this right now. And I'm probably a little bit fatter. Not a little bit, a lot. Who am I kidding?
Oh, man.
And I don't have those genes. So, like, I can't even beat David Hasselhoff in his worst moment, dude. That's what I'm getting at. But goddamn it, I would eat a fucking hamburger if I had it right now. Or Taco Bell. Taco Bell.
You know, I've been wanting to eat a hamburger and I haven't.
When's the last time you had a hamburger?
It's been a while.
Really? Are you like watching the?
No, it's just happenstance.
Just hasn't happened. I kind of eat a hamburger weekly. It's part of my fucking diet. All right, David Hasselhoff's alive and well.
Wow.
Oh, look at Hialeah. What's up, dude? I didn't notice.
It's tough to end. It's tough to end the show on David Hasselhoff.
Yeah, let's end it with Hialeah. He's in the chat. Yugo, short for Yugoslavian. What's sad is I think these messages were from like 30 minutes ago, so we haven't fucking. We didn't notice them, but Thank you for chipping in. MR2. I don't know what an MR2 is.
Oh yeah, look that up.
All right.
Wow, completely forgot about that.
Who makes this?
A tiny little car.
Well, that's a roadster, right?
It is.
Is it a roadster?
It's a two-seater for sure.
Oh, it was a Toyota.
You're not showing anything.
Okay. Yeah, I've been with drinking whiskey, dude. You gotta help me out faster than that. All right, here we go. MR2. You seen it now?
Yeah.
Toyota MR2.
Yeah, I'm thinking more that, not that one. Yeah, that's kind of what I remember. It was like really small.
It's kind of like a Fiero type of fucking thing,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. And people used to call it a Mr. Two.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of like that Solstice, dude. I like defunct shit too.
Defunct shit. Got it.
Yeah. The Seattle Supersonics, the AFL.
I do like the AFL.
It's defunct, right?
No, it merged. It's different.
Okay. Defunct means you went out of business?
I think so. Did the ABA go out of business or that merged too?
Well, you see, with the ABA and the AFL, I think you have both because certain franchises went defunct and then other ones got incorporated in the same scenario with the ABA. The Nets, I think the Spurs, and, a few others went in. So, like, kind of got the best franchises went in and the others just went out.
And some names were just offensive, like the Kentucky Colonels.
That's a whole nother episode. There's a lot of fucking bad fucking sports names. One of the best sports names, defunct team. Well, I don't know if it's defunct because it's now the Oklahoma Thunder, the Seattle Supersonics. Great name. I hope they come back at some point.
Yeah, I do remember them when they had Sean Kemp.
Mm-hmm. Montreal Expos.
Demplin Strength.
Yeah.
Gary Payton.
Would love to see like the Expos come back for baseball or something like that.
Montreal Expos. Didn't they become the Marlins? No,
they became the Washington Nationals.
Oh, okay. Our owner was Montreal.
Our owner came from there. He was the owner from Jeffrey Lurie.
Wow. All right.
Yeah. All right, dude. We ready?
I think so, man.
All right, dude. Thank you. Thank anybody who watched. Thank anybody who's going to watch in the future. And we'll see you next week.